two-time WWE Hall of Famer, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Tito Santana.
This is Kurt Angle.
This is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is going out to Scott and Holly.
You are listening to the
Win Twice Wrestling Podcast
With Scott and Holly.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
And this ho's for everybody. Ho!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. We always go over, brother, and that's the bottom line. Dig it? So, sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 51 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast. Holly, at what point do you think I'm going to stop just doing the numbers and say, welcome back guys, you know the deal here? Never?
Never.
I think you're probably right. I like my numbers. I've got a little bit of a touch of the tism in that respect.
Ooh.
I like things to have their right order.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a strong way to start the show, but I'll let other people be the judge of that.
Maybe they don't have to listen to it. They can skip 30 seconds and to skip you saying the number if they really
to get to your key bits of this guy's a prick and here's why I hate X-Pac. Let's see if we can get any X-Pac hate in this show. But Holly, we've gone back in time a little bit for this one, haven't we?
Yes.
But I thought it would be a pleasing going back in time.
Right.
It's a show that in the early 90s, obviously UK was always a big market for the WWF. They would do European Rampage tours, was frequently what they were called at the time. I think they had 2 or 3 years where they called it that. And it tended to be... It's much similar to now, actually. They used to do it not long after WrestleMania, and then they would potentially do one later in the year as well, which is still pretty much how they do things. Yeah. And to think, so at this time, both of you and I would have been alive. Neither one of us were watching. Actually, how old would I have been? No, I would have seen some stuff at the ripe old age of 18 months of old. 18 months of old.
Oh, ye
so
oldie English.
Ye oldie English, 18 months of old, and I was sat in front of the hearth.
Times of yore.
Yes, in front in the tin bath, being ladled in hot water. But no, I was plonked in front of the TV at a very young age with wrestling on. So obviously I won't have any living memory of this era, but that's what I've been told was the case. To think of the venue that they're at for this show.
Yeah.
The Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
When you think of the Royal Albert Hall, I don't know about you,
yeah.
I don't think of professional wrestling.
No, I don't. This was another venue I could tick off the list of having been to, so I was quite happy.
Do you know what? I don't know if I have.
Oh.
I can't think what I would have been. What did you go there for? Was it a performance?
It was a Ministry of Sound with an orchestra.
Oh, I did know that they did that, actually.
Yes,
yeah,
it
okay.
was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's obviously what that's what I went there for. Nothing like fancy. It was.
I was imagining, was it a
Sound.
black tie affair that you went to?
Absolutely
no,
not.
that would have been amazing.
No.
And it's got an aura about it, I think.
Okay.
Even just looking at the layout of the building.
Yeah.
So it feels very different from anything we've watched. It looks like...
It just feels a little bit grand. Like, it's because it's the Albert Hall. Like, it feels a little bit grand. Like, a little bit like...
It does.
Oh, okay.
And it almost feels out of place.
Yes.
It's like the Hammerstein Ballroom exponentially grown to a different level.
Ooh, that's
because
a big word for a Sunday.
It is, isn't it? Like I try. Sometimes I get the old mental thesaurus working early. But do you see what I mean? Because it's kind of got the tiered seating, obviously,
and
but then it's got the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, this is the best setup for commentary I've seen at any show.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Where they are, it's a great view. They can see everything themselves.
Yeah.
And I might have sold you on this show being the return of our boy, Lord Al Hayes. Yes. And to be fair...
I mean, he's there.
He's there. He's there twice. But I misremembered. I'll be honest, I haven't seen this show in full up until reviewing it for this episode. I had certainly seen parts of it, and the main event was the key one that I saw. So that's why, in my head, well, he was there commentating on that
so you'd
match.
Assume, especially also being where he's from.
Exactly, from Windermere.
Oh, yes.
Yes, in the
Great Lakes.
The Great Lakes, exactly. And he said the Outer Hebrides, but not quite. But yeah. That to say, it had a unique feel, and I quite like when we go through our shows where we go from, I say one extreme to another, but what I mean is something that's significantly different almost on every
this is
level.
Definitely different.
Yeah, so what was do you know what's mad? Oh, Saturday night's main event. So it's not gone as far ahead as some of the other contrasts, like as if we'd just done WrestleMania 2000 and then done this. But it was enough of a change that, as you would say, it was an overload of the senses. You were overly stimulated.
Always.
Now, the show we're talking about here is the WWF Battle Royal at the Royal Albert Hall. The show took place on the 3rd of October 1991. The venue, of course, was the Royal Albert Hall in London, England. The attendance was approximately 5,000, I believe, from what I looked up.
Okay.
And some interesting details on this, because it wasn't a pay-per-view as such, but it was shown on Sky Movies Plus in the UK and later released on VHS. So this was in there. So for us, it was Silvervision in the UK was the distributor for VHSs, and I've still got some of them back in the day. I think for the North American listeners, it would have been Coliseum Video, but effectively they were one and the same thing in the way that they were distributed. It was the same thing, just on VHS tape. And this was something that wasn't readily available in the States. So I think a lot of the US listeners won't have necessarily seen much of this, apart from tape trading, other than when it got put on the network. Because for ages, this kind of stuff just wasn't on the network. And having, obviously, being UK residents, it's nice every now and then to pick a UK-based show to kind of, tie everything up nicely. And I was hoping, I did have high hopes. Not for a living. I'm not going to do the rest of the lyrics there in case anyone was wondering. Mainly because I don't remember the order. But I did think that we were going to be in for a little bit of a treat. Now, there were moments in this show. I think that's fair to say. There were a few moments.
Sure.
Oh, dear.
Sure.
Oh, dear. Oh, go on, Holly.
No, it's fine.
You're looking very sophisticated today with your glasses, so give us something. What? Okay, we know you have low expectations to no expectations, but let's elaborate. What were you thinking going into this one?
I mean, I say it every time, but not a lot. I obviously knew what the show was, and also I was a bit like, how old is this? Because obviously we'd just watched like an oldish.
It was different enough old though.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
To be fair, it was. And I don't know. I say I didn't have an expectation. I think obviously I had the expectation, hopefully, that I'd get my guy back.
Yeah. That's my bad.
It's okay. I don't know. Something
wasn't clicking.
Didn't hit for me.
I think I know what it is. We'll obviously kind of dissect it more as we go through, but my initial takeaway in hindsight, and I felt this about maybe a third of the way through the show, is that let's say we were watching SummerSlam 1991. Okay. So a show that would have taken place in the same year. Yeah. A lot of the matches are rapid fire, whereas they didn't have the full cast of characters there. Hogan wasn't there. Savage wasn't there. A lot of the big hitters weren't there. A lot of my notes do also say, "Oh, we're waiting around again." There's a lot of time wasting as well, which we know I'm not a fan of. No, and I agree, and it actually hurt a lot of the matches, I think, because I'll be honest, when you see a match, the only one that I was hoping went a decent amount of time was the Flair match. Okay. Because I thought, this is an interesting combination. And the opening match I was okay with as well. But the rest of them, I was like, these can't, if you got your man Earthquake in the ring, let's not have a long, drawn-out affair. No, if we got the Mountie in the ring, nothing against the Rougeaus, fuck off, okay? I can't get on board with the Mountie. Do you know what? Great heel work, because he gets right up my nose. Yeah. And I love Canadians as well. I fucking love me some Canadians. Interesting fact, on the podcast platforms, the most frequently downloaded location for this show is Toronto. Really? Yeah. So thank you very much for all you... I don't know. It's not Torontoians. Torontonians? Toronto. That's how you can tell that. I remember going on a tour in Toronto. And if you say Toronto, straight away, they know that you're not around there. You're visiting the area. Yeah. You have to drop out the second tier. And I thought the English accent was the giveaway there. Well, yeah. But... anyway, lovely place. One of my favourite places to go, and I'd love to go back there. Okay. So yeah, it was a way back when show, but not quite an 80s way back when show. So it was different enough for me. So let's dive in with the show opening, shall we? Let's. For the first time in the history of the podcast, the WWE Network displays a message that reads, "Presented in the most complete form possible due to original production technical difficulties." I wish they cut out more.
It does feel like a long 2 hours 40 minutes.
I think they did this pretty much for all of the shows around this era that were done, maybe more specifically geared for the VHS market. Because there are shows where, I'll be honest, I saw very little. There was maybe a couple visual glitches throughout the thing, but I didn't specifically notice anything. I went, what the hell's, that's a weird cut, or that's something strange.
I think because that warning came up, I expected halfway through or something to go.
A match to just, yeah. And we never got that, to be fair. So if anyone does know what those changes were for what's shown on the network, I'd love to hear it. As the message fades off screen, we now see a sketch of the Royal Albert Hall venue and are notified that this show is sponsored by the Daily Star. For those not within the UK, the Daily Star is a very lowbrow newspaper for your reference.
Tits out mag, isn't it?
I don't want to say it's a tits out mag, but if
it was though, wasn't it?
It was
a cheap newspaper that just had page 3 girls in every single page.
It was marketed towards men, that's for damn sure. Because obviously the Sun had page 3. I don't think they do that anymore because they can't. No. But that is why was that a thing?
I don't know.
Like it's odd.
Before the internet, I guess.
Well, true, but there's also obviously other publications. I guess it was more discreet. You go, oh, you got the Sun, have you? Yes, I like the articles.
Oh, yeah. I like to read about this girl who's 23 and...
What's her political opinion, I wonder? She can't even spell political opinion, let alone has one. But what was funny is in my grandparents' household, the Sun was one of the papers that they would get. Oh. And I remember going into the room and seeing my grandpa reading the paper, and it was... Page 3 was on one page, and I swear to God, he was actually... Unless he's got his glasses set up so he's looking over here... He was reading something on the other page, and I thought, I respect that. But yes, it was a bit of a titty rag. For any. Is it still going?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Other publications are available, of course. But yeah, so it was very much geared towards men, which makes sense given this is a wrestling show. We get a wonderful early noughties music drop. I say early noughties, it's not early 90s is what I actually typed here. As we see a selection of clips highlighting some of the wrestlers that will be showcased on the card, including the Legion of Doom, the Big Boss Man, the Rockers, friend of the show Tito Santana, the Undertaker, and of course, the British Bulldog. As the montage dissolves, we see golden writing on a royal blue backdrop, easy for me to say, that welcomes us to the Battle Royal at the Royal Albert Hall. We go to the arena, and Holly, tell me about your first thoughts regarding the layout of this building and how it looks for a professional wrestling show.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it does work. Also, if I was going, I'd be quite happy because I'd be able to see.
I feel like there's not a bad seat in there.
Tiered seating, always a big fan.
Yep.
My only, not only, because that's a lie, but one complaint I'd have is that there's no lighting, it's just lights on. There's no sort of focus on the ring. There's no... And I get it's older. And I get it's the Royal Albert Hall, so you've got to work with what you've got.
Yeah.
But it was very like, oh, this is very bright. This is... And also, I think there's about 40 school trips there at some point. It's very kid-focused as well. Like,
look at the era that this was in, though.
Yeah.
This was highly marketed towards
kids.
Like
family kids and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, it was just very bright, and I was just like, oh, okay.
It did feel like it was a matinee performance of something, didn't it?
Yeah,
in many respects.
Like daytime, in the daytime.
I just really liked it, and there were a couple moments in the show where a couple of the wrestlers you could see just kind of stop and look around, and I don't know if they were like, oh, this is cool, or oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the former, because it feels they're making such a big fuss throughout the show about it being royal linked. I mean, obviously the royal is in the name. So it must be very different from, bingo halls and all this kind of stuff, maybe. The cliches of what they're doing in some of the states. Obviously, the WWF wasn't doing those arenas, but a lot of the wrestlers at some point in their career would have gone through those smoky bingo halls. As we scan the crowd, we see two lunatics who have shaved the WWF logo into the back of their heads, as Gorilla Monsoon welcomes us to the show. Oh, Gorilla, how I have missed your dulcet tones.
Yeah.
It's a happening, Holly.
It is a happening.
It is a happening. How did you feel with getting old Gorilla back?
Yeah, quite happy. Yeah.
Okay. After the cameras are done with those in attendance, we head to the commentary box where we see the man himself in an outstanding black and midnight blue tuxedo. And who's standing beside him?
Yeah.
Another one of my favourites, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Holly!
Yeah.
How do you feel about Bobby being there?
Great.
Yeah?
I mean,
you've warmed up to him a little bit.
I didn't mind because it plays on the two people together. One thinks one way, one thinks the other. So I thought it was quite funny.
Their chemistry's great.
The crowd also thought, great, because they obviously chanted Weasel the whole time. So
They
that was
did.
great.
I've got a couple of comments on that as we go through. This is the first time we hear mention of the Royal Samovar Trophy, which will be awarded to the winner of tonight's Battle Royal. There's a lot of mention of Samovar Trophy as we go through this show. Holly, have you ever heard the phrase Samovar Trophy prior to this?
No, we know also from talking about this midweek that I don't know what I'm listening to at some point, because until it gets about 3/4 of the way through, I haven't noticed them talk about this at all. I have not heard them talk about it.
Well, we find out later specifically what the Royal Samovar is. We see it pretty much in every interview segment.
Yeah,
every
I
interview
saw
segment.
it.
Yeah.
I clearly drowned out them talking about it.
But when we see Lord Owl later, he does kindly confirm what it is, which and Bobby Heenan has a great quip off the back of that, I thought. Heenan, he had a good show, but there were a couple moments specifically where he got me. And Gorilla was perfect. It's such a perfect foil to work off Bobby. Gorilla says we'll also see 7 other matches, oh dear, on the night, including none other than the self-proclaimed real world's champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair. No, dear chap. It is Sir Robert of Heenan and Lord Brain to you, as Heenan corrects Gorilla when he's introduced. Heenan demands his dignity, and Gorilla says that Heenan will be sitting on his dignity in a few minutes. Heenan says they are a stone's throw away from the Queen's royal box, where the Queen herself sits, not for this show, but just as a general thing when she's there. Sounds sexy. Talking about the Queen's box? Hello.
Cheeky.
Hello, why not? As the crowd begin a weasel chant, Gorilla sends us down to the sexual pervert Mel Phillips, who is on announcing duty for this show. You missed that as well, did you? Yep. That's old Mel, old foot fetish Mel. But we're going into match number 1.
Yes.
And I think the opening match, apart from one particular person who was at ringside for this, would have pleased you in terms of, the potential, how good it could have been. So we've got the Nasty Boys with Jimmy, Mouth of the South Heart. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Holly. He was on the show a few times.
Honestly, so angry.
Why?
He's so fucking annoying.
He's all right. Versus...
He isn't even a wrestler, and he
No.
plays great heel work for me because I cannot bear him. Him and that stupid megaphone can
and
bugger off.
the megaphone was in fine form on this evening.
Wasn't it just?
Or this matinee performance. And they're going up against Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, The Rockers.
Happy with that.
Did you recognise the music?
I'll be honest, yeah.
Yeah, good. From one pervert to a pair of gentlemen that you would have asked similar questions about based off looks alone, as the Nasty Boys make their way to the ring. Holly, we know too well by now that you do not like Jimmy Hart, but God help me, that is a great jacket he's wearing.
Yeah, it's a great jacket. Just wish he was mute.
Well, don't we all? Heenan says that with the structure of the building, you almost get the same electricity as Madison Square Garden, and Gorilla agrees with him, though I can only imagine to a much lesser scale. But I guess with the fact that if you think about the logistics of MSG, it's a circular building, pretty much, and that is how the Royal Albert Hall, to a much lesser scale, because I think Madison Square Garden sits about 20,000, so it's about 4 times the size, but I just thought, that's nice, they're making an effort to build it up. Gorilla comments that the Royal Albert Hall is over 120 years old, and Heenan informs us that so is Lord Al Hayes. 2 for Heenan so far on the night. Yeah, he has another go at Hayes later, which is good. Holly now has a sense of optimism, as for the first time in a while we get the tag team combination of Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. The crowd are also very excited at the arrival of the Rockers, so we are matching each other's energy right here. As the Rockers hit the ring, Sags removes his jacket and whips it at Michaels, who catches it, allowing Jannetty to clobber him from behind, sending the Nasties to the floor. Looks to be a backdrop for Knobs as he runs in, but the cameras miss it, and a right hand puts him back down once more. The crowd cheers for the Rockers, and we get a wonderful shot of Jimmy Hart on the megaphone. I put that in just for you.
Thank you.
Jannetty in the ring puts on one of the leather jackets, and I dread to think of the smell coming off that.
Yeah, sweaty, like...
Must.
Ugh, no.
Yeah, like, when you, have you ever had, an arm in a cast or something, and then...
No.
Okay, nor have I. But then take it off, and then it's just that vinegary, stale human flesh rotting smell. I imagine it's probably something like that. On the apron, Knobs is breathing like a fish out of water, and all I can think about is Bebop from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. That's very good.
There you go. Thank you. The Nasty Boys want to compare popularity now as they go to two corners of the ring and raise their arms as the crowd shower them with boos. This is where I'm thinking, oh wow, we're time wasting already, are we, gents?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it starts early. Now it's the turn of the Rockers, and safe to say it's a no contest. Both teams are strategising as Heenan informs us he'll be going to Buckingham Palace. Monsoon asks if he plans on just barging in, but no, the Brain was invited. They get takeout for you? Gorilla asks. Sags and Michaels start things off as the crowd cheer, and the Rocker manages to slap the Nasty on the back whilst he was focused on the crowd. They lock up and Sags gets backed into the corner until a clean break. Sags quickly reverses the position, and you guessed it, no clean break this time. Right hand's in the corner, but Michaels reverses a whip with a drop down, leapfrog, but jumps right into the waiting arms of Sags where he cheekily bites his nose, causing the grip to be broken.
Oh.
You didn't see that?
No.
He just, either that or he kissed him. So I think
still probably going, the leapfrog, and then that's about it.
Yeah, so he definitely had a little nibble of the nose. That's quite sweet, really, isn't it? Super kick for Sags and one for Knobs, who enters the ring before Sean beckons the Nasties on so that Marty can connect with a top rope double clothesline. Great stuff, that. Really like that, how he kind of backed down and waved them on. Really good. The Nasty Boys roll to the floor as the Rockers celebrate for the crowd in the ring.
God, honestly.
Already?
Yes.
Already? Wow.
It's so much. It's like the freaking is it hokey or okey cokey?
Okey cokey.
In, out, all the damn time. Drives me mad.
Well, shaking it all about's never a bad thing. Change of game plan for the heels as they regroup on the floor whilst Jimmy Hart is screaming at the official. Tag for Knobs, who is welcomed with I'm never not going to smile when I write down Knobs.
Okay.
And just the phrasing that sometimes follows it unintentionally. It doesn't sound great. Like Knobs enters, hello.
Oh no, thank you.
Well, yeah, quite. Let Hulk do that. He even tags out for that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Tag for Knobs, who is welcomed with a lovely wall of boos, and he wants Jannetty, telling Michaels to tag him in. They circle briefly before Knobs lands some stiff forearms and whips Marty into the buckles. On the charge, however, the boots are up and Jannetty follows up with a second rope bulldog. Sags is back in and gets a right to the gut, and Michaels hits his own bulldog of sorts before Jannetty drop-kick sends Knobs to the floor as well. The Nasty Boys look to have had enough as they march up the aisle and argue with the fans, telling them to shut their stinking faces. They decide against bowing out and return to the ring where Marty and Knobs circle each other once again.
It really winds me up.
Yep. But again, could you argue good heel work?
Suppose.
Okay.
A push.
Jannetty grabs a leg and Knobs falls down, and now the side headlock is applied. Push off the ropes and Marty ducks the clothesline, feigns an O'Connor roll, but instead gets a modified sunset flip for a near fall. I like that.
Yeah, it was good.
Knobs scampers over to Sags and tags him in. After a pause, Jannetty gets a drop toe hold and transitions to a front face lock. Knobs looks to get the crowd clapping for the Nasties, but they're not biting. Sags gets back to his feet and makes it to the ropes where he hits a sneaky shot to the ribs. Whip is reversed and Jannetty scores with an arm drag takedown and applies an arm stretcher. Sags struggles but makes his way to his feet and the ropes. Interestingly, referee Joe Morella begins counting a pinfall when he spots Jannetty's shoulders are on the canvas, ignoring the fact Sags is holding on to the ropes.
Yep.
Marty manages to reposition the hold back on the canvas, and as the official is distracted with Knobs, Michael swaps in to lock the stretch on himself. Joey asks the fans if there was a legal tag, to which they shout yes, and apparently that is enough for the referee. It's like a
bizarre.
Punch and Judy show all of a sudden. It's sent into pantomime.
Behind you.
Yeah. The Rockers swap once more, and we get the same routine again. Make it 3 times, and Hart is screaming into the camera, "This stupid referee is an idiot," and I can't help but agree.
Fair.
Sags fights his way out and kicks Sean hard in the ribs. Corner whip is reversed, but Michael slides under a boot attempt, trips Sags from the floor, and drags him ball first into the ring post.
Drink.
Drink.
Biggest drink. You're going to need them for this one.
Gorilla calls it. We have another soprano here at the Royal Albert Hall. Jimmy Hart begins provoking Marty, who drops off the apron, causing the referee to run interference. Meanwhile, in the ring, Sean connects with an inverted atomic drop. Side headlock sees Michaels pushed into the ropes, and despite seeing Knobs from a mile away pull down the top rope, apparently Sean was helpless to avoid going arse over Samovar trophy to the floor.
And his eyes were still focused straight ahead at this point, right?
Yep. Yeah, he'd barely hit the other ropes.
Honestly ridiculous.
Yep.
Just stop running.
I know. Hart does a drive-by stomp, and for the first time it looks as though the Rockers may be in trouble. From the apron, Knobbs connects with the double axe handle to the top of the head and later connects with a running clothesline as Morella tries to keep Jannetty at bay. When Michaels makes it back to his feet on the floor, both Nasties stand on his head and throat. On the apron, Shawn finds himself guillotined over the top rope before Knobbs hits an elbow drop for a near fall. Pair of forearms land hard and they just keep coming. Michaels fires back with rights, but Knobbs tackles him to the floor and drags him to tag in Sags. Whip into the ropes and we get Whip into the ropes and we get a true, tried and tested, Holly approved bear hug as Sags locks his hands.
God.
Holly, despite Shawn's eyes being wide open throughout, please can you do the honours?
He's asleep. He's asleep. He's waking up.
With his eyes wide open. Michael's feet start tapping away like Kevin Bacon, and just when it looks like he has hope, he is put down on his arse.
I love a Footloose reference.
Yeah,
Very
you do.
good. Very good.
Tag to Knobbs, who drops an elbow to the lower back, and we now see a modified camel clutch. Jannetty has the crowd clapping in support of Shawn, who makes it back to his feet with Knobbs on his back and falls backwards, leaving both men down. Hate it when you wake up with Knobbs on your back, don't you? Oh my God.
Saying nothing.
No, it's probably for the best. It's the safest response. There's no response on that one. Michaels makes the tag, but Sags had garnered the attention of the ref, and when Jannetty enters, he's instructed to leave. Why didn't the crowd just say, yes, he tagged?
No,
the ref allows that.
Worked before.
Exactly. Whip sends Michaels into the buckles, but when Sags sends Knobbs in after, Michaels avoids the impact and clotheslines Jerry. Now the ref does see the tag, and Marty has right hands for everybody. A pair of drop kicks from Jannetty, and we get our beloved Sesame Street punches in the corner. First for Knobbs, and then for Sags. But the second doesn't last long as Marty avoids a charge, which sees the Nasties collide together. Cover on Knobbs, but Jannetty moves out of the way of a Sags elbow drop, and again the Nasties collide. Double noggin knocker, and all four men are in the ring. Pair of corner whips sees Knobbs and Sags collide for a third time in quick succession, and Marty makes the pin on Sags, but it's only two. You could have fooled the fans and Gorilla, who both believed this one to be over, and it confused me as a result.
Boggled me. Really did.
I mean, granted, you'd say, I know it doesn't take much, but that stumped me
Really
as well, to be
confused me,
honest.
especially because Gorilla was so confident in his,
oh,
it's done. I was like, oh my God, yes.
Imagine if Vince had been there, and he got him, he got no, he didn't, this one was actually good. Marty gets press slammed by Michaels onto Sags, but with Jannetty having made the cover, Jimmy Hart is back on the apron. Morella prevents Shawn from striking Hart, which causes Holly to boo. Meanwhile, Knobbs uses the megaphone to crack Marty in the back of the head. Sags rolls over into cover, and before Michaels can make the save, we get the 1, 2, 3. The Nasty Boys are your winners. As the victors take their leave, we're shown a replay of how Hart threw the megaphone to Knobbs to bring about the end of the match. Holly, what did you think of this?
Interesting. I don't want to be so down on everything.
No, you be honest. You speak your truth,
Bit
girl.
of rubbish.
Rubbish.
I just don't. Give me the rockers, fine.
Okay.
The
gear.
Oh, I loved that.
That'll be featuring later.
I loved that. It's just the constant roll in, roll out, roll in, roll out.
Right, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I know. I know. It just winds me up. But I gave it 1.5 out of 5. So I don't know if you think that's fair.
No, I get it. I will be honest. I liked it to a point. Granted, because it was the first match of the night, if this had been third, it would have annoyed me more because we would have already seen lots more roll-outs, roll-ins and all that. But it gave the Rockers the chance to work what I thought was a decent match. I thought the Nasty Boys actually played their part in this very well. Easily disliked, but for the right reasons, I thought. So I gave it 2.5 because I thought it was that was like a kind of, I'm fine with that type match. It was good, but like I said, had it been later in the card, I'd have given it the score you did. Okay. Which is weird, but it shows that placement is quite key.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we won't often be reaching the lofty 2.5 star ratings for much else of the show, I'll be honest. Gorilla sends us backstage to the interview area where Ric Flair is standing beside Mean Gene Okerlund. We can also see the Royal Samovar trophy momentarily before the camera closes in on the two men. What do you think of the trophy?
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. I got something very similar actually for a football tournament when I was 8. So yeah, basically the same thing.
Okay.
Ric Flair slowly undoes his green robe to reveal his real world's title, the very same belt he walked out of WCW with and would have to be pixelated on US broadcasts. It's such a great title.
It's quite impressive though, considering the title belts we've seen way back when and how small they were. To see this one, I was like, oh, that actually looks impressive.
It's a good title.
Yeah,
the big gold belt. Mean Gene says that Flair is new here in WWF and asks him about his matches tonight, plural. Flair says that Tito Santana will find out exactly why Ric Flair is the best in the business and that later on, despite the great names in the Battle Royal, there is just one problem. They are not the real world's heavyweight champion. The Nature Boy calls out Roddy Piper, saying he can run but he cannot hide. Woo! There you go. Mean Gene says that Flair certainly is one of a kind and sends us back to Gorilla and Heenan for the second match of the night.
I'll be honest. Ric Flair's promos, I don't listen.
Really?
Because he just shouts.
Yeah.
It just...
But so does most of them.
Yeah, and again, I probably don't listen to most of them. The ones that really get me are the very chill, just talking...
Jake Roberts type.
Yeah, like not even as... Not monotone, but not even as calm as that. Just... There's one later that I think we'll disagree on, in the sense that I will happily
Bulldog.
sit and... Actually, yeah, I agree with that one. It was actually before him.
Okay.
But it's one that's just so chill and just it's like a
Oh.
chat. And there's no content to it, but it's just but if someone's just...
Did the look of that
yakking
person
away-
factor in?
No, not really, actually.
Okay, but it's definitely the same
Because
person.
it's the same as Bulldog. I don't think Bulldog's attractive, but
No.
I will listen.
Okay.
But if someone's just constantly shouting, my brain just goes, I'm not listening.
Legion of Doom, we look forward to your promo later on this
God.
evening.
God.
I'll clear my throat for that one, I think. So the second match of the night is friend of the show and lovely man, Tito Santana,
Yes.
taking on the real world's heavyweight champion,
Yes.
Ric Flair. I'll be honest, I thought this could be good.
This, yes, piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of coiffed hair in this
Oh,
match.
isn't there just?
Lot of coiffed
Santana's hair has more volume than a pension's telly at this
Honestly.
point. It's
Very good.
it
I
is
like that.
it is stunning. But it feels like lighting like it'd be what was I was about to say candy floss, but cotton candy to the
Soft
American.
and, like,
Yeah.
bouncy but voluminous.
He needs to be in a Pantene advert
Amazing.
or a dog shampoo advert. I don't know. It's one of the two. Like
Yeah,
it's
unreal.
and I'm speaking as a man who's very much losing his hair and at a rate over the last couple of years. So I'm fighting a losing battle, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to shave it and hope that I don't look absolutely horrendous as a bald-headed man. Friend of the show, Tito Santana, makes his way to the ring with a great reception from the UK fans, but it's very odd not hearing any entrance music for the former Intercontinental Champion. Oh, no, actually, there is music, it was just very delayed.
Yes.
That's better.
Yes.
That also gets my goat later on in the show when other people don't.
Thought it might.
I'm actually looking forward to this match. I think it could be fun. We now get a little treat as we get the original WWF version of the Nature Boys entrance music, which I personally think is amazing. It's not the one that he would later get, but this one, yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay.
Big fan. It's all the dilly 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 dilly. Like, I don't know, there's something about it that's pleasing. It kind of makes it feel grand and it suits that environment as well. So yeah, looks great. Heenan tells us there is a rumour that Ric Flair could become the next Prime Minister.
All right.
I'd vote for him. The Brain is saying that the real world's champion deserves more fanfare than this, and Monsoon says, stand up then, I don't care. As Flair disrobes, the cameras take us to the commentary box, where we see that indeed Heenan has decided to stand. Brilliant. Monsoon decides he does actually care, grabs him by the arm and says, will you sit down? I'll have you taken out of here in a minute. Heenan says, boy, you're grouchy. It's just...
To be fair, they do work very well together.
Yeah. He has a great line for Gorilla later, and it's so stupid, but had me, like, a little tear of laughter came out. It was very funny. Back to the ring, and Flair drops his robe to a ring hand, and we see that Dangerous Danny Davis is the official for this contest.
Oh, that guy.
Again, yeah.
Oh, God.
Can't get rid of him, can we? No. After the belt was shown to the fans, the two men circle, and we are underway with a collar and elbow lockup. Santana ends up backed into the corner, and upon breaking, Flair woos loudly in his face before backing off. Second lockup results with Flair being in the corner, and when it's broken, he woos again, only to be struck with a right hand that causes him to drop into a crouch, nursing his jaw. Side headlock by Tito sees him get pushed off, but he knocks the Nature Boy down with a shoulder tackle. Flair takes a moment to roll to the outside, readjust his hair and neck before ascending the stairs and returning. I don't mind that from Flair, because that suits his character.
I mean, yeah, it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Flair's all in green and Tito's all in white here.
Nice
It was nice
clash.
for my aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, the robe of Flair was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it's quite a funny thing. His entrance gear is spectacular, and then his in-ring
Just
gear is
pants.
just... But again, fine.
Yeah, works.
Fine. Because I guess his wrestling involves a lot of, I was about to say Flair type things, but I meant Flair as in not his name, as in...
Showing.
Yeah, it's very showman,
Yeah.
isn't it, the way he kind of works. So that's the flash that you don't need it on the attire to kind of like balance it off. Here we go. A third lock-up sees Tito slap on a side headlock only to be countered into a top wrist lock. Santana begins to power out of the hold, but without the official seeing it, Flair uses Tito's hair to pull him back down to the canvas before turning the position into a standard wrist lock, and again uses the hair. Third hair pull drags Tito back to the canvas, and the official asks Flair if anything untoward is going on, which he loudly denies by going, "No!" Now for a fourth time, we get a hair pull, which brings Tito down, and the ref now suspects that we are seeing hair pulls, although he hasn't fully caught him in the act. The fifth attempt sees Santana quickly kip up, and Flair begs off into the corner. Holly, you probably like that.
I did, yeah.
Tito informs the ref of the hair pulling, but Flair loudly calls no once more when he is challenged. An arm wringer attempt sees Tito punch Flair straight in the nose on 4 occasions. Flair is fully conversing as he gets whipped into the corner and bounces back into a back body drop and a pair of drop kicks. And again, of course, Flair lands on the side of his back, not fully on his back.
I know this now, so
Yep.
I look out for it.
Flair quickly returns to his feet, only to do the classic pratfall onto his face and roll to the floor. Hammer sometimes does it well, but Flair does it consistently brilliantly.
Yeah.
Tito is in pursuit and introduces Rick's face to the apron and steel barricade. As Santana looks to return to the ring, Flair prevents him with an eye rake before setting up stall in the Albert Hall to flog the Nature Boy's thick-cut chops.
Oh.
Now Tito eats the guardrail as Heenan calls the UK flag the Jolly Roger, before correcting himself, but then suggesting it's called the Jack Daniels or something like that. Flair drags Tito onto the apron and drives the elbow into the back of his head. He takes a moment to stroll around the ring, only to return to a shoulder block and delayed sunset flip for a count of 2. Side headlock by Flair sees him pushed off, and he eventually goes down from a drop toe hold after clearly not expecting that move to arrive. Bit awkward that, wasn't it?
A little.
Yeah. Toe hold by Tito, but Flair is already in the ropes and the hold is broken. With Flair holding onto the middle rope, Santana swings him into the air, causing him to land gingerly on the side of his back.
I do like that.
Yes, that wasn't the best version, but I
No.
agree. Elbow drop to the knee, and Flair wants to beg off again, but no. Right hand and a hammy stretch follow, and now Flair is begging in the corner. He looks for an eye poke, which doesn't register, and Tito unloads with right hands until Flair drops to his knees and looks for a pin with his legs on the middle rope. Santana kicks out at 2, but let's remember that for later on. Heenan is annoyed and says he will go down there and ref, as the official doesn't know what comes after 2. Chop in the corner from Flair, but Tito reverses, and for the second consecutive match, we get Sesame Street punches in the corner. Flair breaks the momentum with an inverted atomic drop and kick to the ribs after a pause. Running knee drop connects, and Flair goes for the cover, but puts his feet on the middle ropes once more, and this time Danny Davis spots the flagrant cheating. Rick gets to his feet and shoves Davis, who pushes him in return. Heenan shouts, No, Rick, don't do that!"
Naughty, naughty.
He's invested as his advisor. Chop and punches in the corner before Flair whips Tito into the buckles hard twice. Snapmare and Flair again covers with his feet on the ropes. Danny Davis carries on counting despite this and Santana's shoulder being off the canvas.
You're so annoyed.
Yeah, I was. Flair bursts to his feet to tell a fan to shut up and threatens them from the apron. Nature Boy returns, but his right hand is blocked, however his chop is not. Chop exchange now at the meat market, but Tito gets the better of the exchange and he lands a number of right hands in the corner. Whip sees Flair hit the buckles and go over the top to the apron where he's dropped with a clothesline. Classic Flair.
I do like that.
Suplex from the apron brings Rick back into the ring, and the real world champion is on his knees begging, but does connect with a right to the gut. Irish whip from Flair, but Tito blocks and counters with a backslide attempt that eventually he secures for a close 2 count. Tito walks right into an eye poke from the dirtiest player in the game, Holly boos, punch to the nose, and follow-up chop get a near fall. Back suplex by Flair, and the Nature Boy applies the figure 4 leg lock. With the ref checking on Tito, Flair grabs the top rope for additional leverage, and Heenan calls, "Ring the bloody bell, mate!" which causes me to laugh loudly. Second attempt at cheating goes unnoticed, as does the third. Santana has been in the hold for a while, and with the support of the crowd looks to reverse the position, which he eventually does. Heenan again, "No, no, no!" on commentary. Flair manages to escape, but the damage might have already been done. Measured kick to the back of the knee is answered by a right hand, and Flair walks backwards before falling on his face. Tito drives the Nature Boy's face into the canvas, and a right forearm sent him over the top to the outside. Santana follows and body slams Flair on the blue mats. He returns to the ring, but Rick drags him back out under the bottom rope and connects with a chop or two. Santana returns each blow with a strike of his own until Flair eventually rolls him back into the ring. Classic Flair spot as he ascends the buckles, only to be press slammed down to the canvas. I'm thinking Nitro, I'm thinking Sting. Mm-hmm. Covered by Santana, and we get a near fall. Heenan screams so loudly he makes himself cough. He goes, which is great. Monsoon says the Brain will have a cardiac arrest if he's not careful. Elbow drop from Tito, finds no water in the pool. Flair whips him into the buckles, but is unprepared as Santana fires back out with a clothesline. Cover gets the 1, 2, no, Flair barely kicks out, and I mean barely. Mm-hmm. The cameras take us back to the commentary box where Heenan is banging the desk and being told to calm down by Gorilla, who asks someone behind the scenes to get the doctor for the Brain. Flying forearm from Tito connects, and Heenan calls it the flying jalapeno, and we get the 1, 2, no. Flair drapes his toes across the bottom rope, and that nearly finishes Heenan off. Mm-hmm. Side headlock sees the Nature Boy pushed off, and Tito grabs a waistlock, hits the corner, and secures an O'Connor roll. 2 count, but Flair rolls through, hoists Tito high by the trunks, and holds them on for the 1, 2, 3. Ric Flair is your winner. Tito is outraged and tries to get at Flair as the Real World Champ retrieves his belt and heads to the back. We see the replay as Monsoon says, "We would never see Hulk Hogan do something like that," as the audio and footage fade out. Holly, what do you think of the match? Would you score it?
I actually quite enjoyed this one, which surprised me, especially with the whole in-out. But it's a Flair, like, to me, that I expect that from Flair, and it's never fair. Like for long. It's always just a regroup, get back in, begs off, all that jazz. I actually quite liked the way they work together. I think it's not theatrics, but like not storytelling. I don't know what it is, but I scored it really high.
Okay.
Because again, I have to put it in the little box. I have to put it at that time, and like away from whatever else I've seen. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I'd actually like to revisit my score because I think I've been harsh on it.
Okay.
I originally put 2, but reading it back and thinking it through, I already decided to change my mind to 3 stars as well, because I think it is slightly better than the opener. And I think we should just end the show there, actually, because quite frankly, we are not going to see these lofty heights again. I think that's fair to say.
Before we move on,
please,
I did some research.
Research
for this one.
Did you Google?
I did some Googling.
Okay, go on.
Bear with me whilst I put my glasses on.
Yeah, go on.
Because I can't see.
Yeah, put them on.
Shut up. Right. Also, it's not normally me that does this, so bear with me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to sit back and take the Holly position.
Are you going to yawn? It's long as well.
It is a long yawn.
Look how long this is.
Oh, fuck me, that's great.
I know, right? I know. I'm so bad at reading as well, so this will be fun.
Show off.
Okay. Also, just for info, Flair was 42 here. Just for info.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him young. Not that 42 is old, like it's not, but do you know what I mean? Like wrestling-wise, I don't think I've ever seen him young.
Okay, that's one to percolate on.
Okay. The story of the woo.
The story of the woo.
Woo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story of the woo.
Did you know that the correct way to spell it is a W with 5 zeros, and it's trademarked? Zeros, noughts, whatever you want to call them, O's, whatever. Okay, so this story is from Sportskeeda.
Okay, I thought you were going to say the sports.
I tried, I really tried, but there wasn't one. However, I have actually seen it. I did some YouTubing too, and
Wow.
I've seen the man say it from his mush directly.
Holy shit.
Okay. No matter what arena or stadium you step into to watch a WWE show, you're going to hear many fans doing the Ric Flair woo at the top of their lungs. You will notice many other fans join in, and the woos start to circulate around the venue to a full orchestra of woos. For anyone attending their first show, especially in today's modern era, you're probably a little confused as to what it means. Many wrestlers, past and present, have their own catchphrases or items that make them stand out against the rest. Oh, this is stressful, I tell you.
Stressful, you're doing very well.
Thank you. I haven't fucked it up yet. For example, you've
Shots
got...
fired.
No, at myself.
Oh, okay, fine.
For example, you've got The Rock's signature, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and you've got Jake the Snake Roberts carrying a snake to the ring. Par exemplar. Now, this is weird. Not to be confused with Zack Ryder's woo 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 catchphrase, which I know you love.
Yeah, big fan.
The origins of Ric Flair's woo go back all the way to the 70s, and it's been around for about 50 odd years.
Yep, maths. Yep.
Thank you.
That checks out.
Thank you. How and when did the woo originate? According to Ric Flair's memoir, released in 2015, the woo originated in the 70s thanks to Jerry Lee Lewis's classic song Great Balls of Fire. Part of the song ended with woo, and Rick decided to use it day to day and even on screen cutting promos. He later confirmed on the Ric Flair show that he put a much greater emphasis on the woo than in the song.
Yeah, that's saying...
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, it just says that it's been used in normal pop culture. And then it talked about the Ric Flair and Jay Lethal woo-off.
That was tremendous.
Yep. So it said, back during the TNA heydays, during the Hogan, Bischoff, Carter era, there was a particular segment that amused many fans around the world. Jay Lethal was performing his, I can't say this word, is it Black Machismo?
Black Machismo.
Thank you. Character.
Which is basically a play on Randy Savage.
Yes. Lethal then crossed paths with the Nature Boy in the then named TNA. A huge impromptu Ric Flair woo-off ensued. All credit to Jay Lethal, who delivered the perfect impression of Ric Flair, rattled the limousine rider and jet flyer, and they continued to exchange words. The segment became one of TNA's funniest and most memorable moments in the history of the company and is still talked about to this day. It's safe to say that Ric Flair woo will live on forever. Based on this, from like then till now, who do you think has the best catchphrase in wrestling?
Oh, is that a question from there, or you've asked me off the back of it?
Just a little question.
There's a lot of catchphrases that come to mind, but I like some of the low-key ones. Like, I've said it before, and I've been reminded, and this is going to be so controversial because they're not nearly as big as some of these other ones.
Yeah.
But to me, Taz's one always sticks out in my head because it's a tough guy thing to say. So, beat me if you can, survive if I let you.
Oh, yeah.
That is just because it's got an edge to it, and it's like a tough guy thing to say.
Yeah.
Every time I say tough guy, I'm thinking, okay, tough guy. Oh! But I love that one. If you smell what The Rock is cooking would be a highlight for me back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Have you got one to...
Mine's so basic. Mine is basic bitch.
Who said that?
No, no, but like mine is a basic, like...
Okay.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
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 It's so simple, but everyone does it in the crowd.
Thought of it.
Go on.
So obvious when you gave me a few seconds there to, really mull that one over. Shane McMahon, get that attitude out of my face. He said it twice in the show. Okay.
That's it. It's a catchphrase done.
Dog shit. But yeah, the Taz one I think is a real. To be fair, it's hard to also beat. I know it's just his name. Rob.
Oh yeah.
Van.
Yeah.
Dam.
Fair.
I'm going with just ECW guys here. Who else is there? That's the bottom line, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. It's definitely up there.
Rock-wise, I prefer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What's your name? Yeah. It doesn't matter.
I prefer that, but.
Do you remember when I shouted that at you
Yeah,
in
I
the
think it's
episode and
brilliant.
you shit yourself?
I think it's brilliant.
I tell you what, Holly, We need to do this stuff more often. That was
Really?
brilliant. That was really well
I
done.
found it so stressful.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah, but you're better at like talking like that than I am.
I don't know.
And reading.
I think I make a lot of verbal typos. Verbal typos. There you go. That's a good example. What the fuck is a verbal typo?
Okay.
But no, that was genuinely quite interesting. Thank you. I feel like I might have heard that before, but had you just put a gun to my head and said, where did that come from?
Yeah.
The woo. I wouldn't have been able to say. So, yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. God, I feel like I got treated there.
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, with the glasses on and everything. And then you did the...
Yeah, I had to.
After you finished, you took them off again. When we return, Gorilla Monsoon sends us back to Mean Gene, who is standing with the big boss man. Mean Gene makes mention that it's his birthday around the time that Suburban Commandos is released, and couldn't think of a better present than 2 tickets to see it. Gene clearly hates himself. Bossman has 2 matches tonight, 1-on-1 against Earthquake, and then he'll be taking part in the Battle Royal. Okay. Bossman tells us that the WWF is truly worldwide, and that the world is his jurisdiction. The law will always be there.
Must be such a busy man if
I
the
know.
whole world is his jurisdiction.
But
Gosh, no wonder he doesn't have time to do up his shirt.
Oh, don't even fuck. But actually, that didn't annoy me on this one. Weirdly, no, weirdly didn't.
No.
But when you got a theme tune like that,
I mean,
an
yeah,
entrance
it's-
theme, that's
yeah.
it's fine. He goes on to call Jimmy Hart's man Earthquake a 6'9", 500-pound piece of trash. Bossman says he takes out the trash, but that gimmick would not come along for another 4 years in the Federation. Duke Drosy, holler at your boy. I regret saying that immediately. The big guy goes on to say that he will celebrate later on tonight by winning the Royal Samovar Trophy. I always think that that's a good post-match celebration, winning a trophy. After a brief cutaway to the show graphic and sponsors, we return to the arena where Mean Gene welcomes Jimmy Hart and Earthquake to join him before the people.
And I die inside.
Again, Holly dies inside. Hart is wearing a phenomenal ring jacket, and I'll have to give him credit. Jimmy squeaks that because of people like the Earthquake, men like Jimmy Hart get to do what they want to do, say what they want to say, and go where they want to go.
Shut up.
He stands at 6'7" and weighs over 400 pounds. Or actually, he says he stands 6'7" and weighs over 400 pounds. So he has lost 2 inches and 100 pounds in the past 2 minutes, apparently. Atkins for the win.
Ooh, Ozempic?
Earthquake asks Gene if he knows just how long a boat ride is from the UK, or to the UK from the US. Really far, and that's why they took a plane. Na 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 na, it's the motherfucking deal, double G. I don't know what he was expecting there, because he was going for a joke. Like, you're big, don't joke.
Yeah,
Just be big.
Mm-hmm.
Be big, scary, bald man. He was probably like, I don't know, 19 here or something. Like, he wasn't old here at all. And I dread to think, if I looked it up, how old he would be.
Do you want me to look it
Yeah,
up?
absolutely, please. And I will procrastinate a little bit on the final part of this segment. Earthquake says that either way, it's a long distance to come to do what they have got to do. But he will beat Bossman, and then bring out Typhoon, and together they'll win the Battle Royal.
What year was this?
91. Nobody will accuse the Earthquake of being a mental giant now, will they? Said Gorilla Monsoon. Oh, Holly's doing some math.
28,
Holy fucking shit.
I think.
Oh my god. Wow. Rest in peace, John Tenter. From there, third match of the evening, Holly.
Yeah,
Don't worry, he's here again.
So excited for this one.
The Earthquake, or as I frequently call him, Quaker. With,
Quaker Oats.
I put with Kimmy Hart, so Jimmy's sister came out for this one.
Fair enough.
Versus the Big Boss Man. Earthquake enters the ring and hits the ropes before jumping up and down and flexing for the cameras as Mel Phillips informs us that he weighs in at 468 pounds, so he grabbed a few sandwiches on his way to the ring, I guess. Now, Holly, we've said it before and we will say it again. How good is the Big Boss Man's entrance music?
Oh, brilliant.
It is phenomenal.
Yes.
The man himself stands at the top of the entryway with his hands raised before he runs and slides into the ring. And as much as I like this version of the Big Boss Man, my God did I hate the one that came in the later part of the 90s.
Yeah.
The natural Earthquake heads to the outside and Boss Man takes the opportunity to pose with his fist raised in each corner. The Natural Disaster screams he will not get into the ring unless Boss Man gets rid of that stick, which he begrudgingly does. Much to the chagrin of Holly, we can hear Jimmy Hart twice bark that Boss Man had better get better get some insurance, baby.
So annoying.
Yeah. I really had to get a Jimmy Hart impression just to see if I saw the fire go in your eyes.
Winds me right up.
Yeah, that's like angry bang material, isn't it? That? The two lock up and Bossman is sent tumbling into the ropes with a hefty shove. The Canadian flexes to the boos of the crowd, and the second lock up unfolds very similar to the first, with Bossman hitting the buckles. Now Quake does a mockery of the Hogan posing routine. When it comes crashing down, and it hurts inside, Holly.
It does hurt.
It does hurt inside. It would hurt inside. Bossman regroups on the apron before returning, and he ducks a lunge to connect with the right hand, make it twice, and Earthquake is leaning against the buckles. Earthquake gets a few words in his ears from Hart, which could well be, "What do you fancy for tea, big man?"
Oh, yeah.
What do you reckon his dinner would have been over in the UK?
Oh, it's got to be like
Bat sausage.
full roast, all trimmings, I'd say.
I think that's a little bit too upmarket. I think it's
think?
fish and chips, throw in a battered sausage.
Oh, I love a bad sausage. Food
Yeah,
wise.
no, so my missus likes a battered sausage as well. That's her go-to. She'll say, "Oh, should we have fish and chips?" and then orders sausage.
Yeah.
Just say, "Can we get something from the fish and chips?" Don't say, "Shall we have fish and chips?" Okay,
I'd say go to the chippy.
fine,
Yeah.
absolutely fine. But you've also got a bit of northern blood in you as
Yeah,
well, so
gotta have
that's
mushy peas and
yeah.
all.
Curry sauce, does that feature in it?
I'm more of a gravy girl, I'll be honest.
Oh, gun to my head, what would I have?
A proper thick gravy.
Oh, I don't know actually. I think I'd probably lean curry sauce over gravy.
But I wouldn't put it on.
No,
such
dip.
A weirdo dip.
Yeah,
yes,
no, absolutely, yeah, because then your fish and batter go
I
soggy.
don't want the battered sausage near my gravy. I just want my chips and mushy peas with my gravy.
Can I get that on the t-shirt? I don't want the battered sausage near my gravy.
And a slice of bread and butter to go with it. To make
Absolutely,
chip
and
bone.
then you have to put everything in there though.
Yeah.
Everything that's in the meal
Yeah,
gets put
absolutely.
into the. Yeah, never. Yeah, my missus does not understand that.
Oh yeah, I do that.
I'm trying to think. So what do I think Tenta would go for? I think, yeah, definitely the fish and chips to start with the sausage. He's trying a bit of everything, including the curry sauce, which makes him go, "Oh, quite fancy a curry." So on the way back to the hotel, curry,
Okay. Fair.
excellent. That's his 8th meal of the day. We're good.
Nice.
And then just as he goes into the hotel, he goes, "What's that across? Is that McDonald's?" And then he'll go in there
Oh, okay.
and he'll help himself to a Big Mac just to finish off the night.
Oh, okay. I'd say I'd stop at Toby Carvery. I mean,
Could you
for
imagine?
me that's not the one, but
Okay, right. We're running a Toby Carvery, okay?
oh god.
Right, we're down the road from the Royal Albert Hall. That famous Toby Carvery that's there. Okay, so we're staying open late because it's a busy place. A lot of businesses close late, so we're staying open to make sure we get the business in. We then see, we're just walking around, kind of tidying up. So it's a bit quiet at the moment because a load of people have finished their main meal, and then you go boom, boom.
It's a dinosaur.
The ground
isn't it?
starts shaking. Yeah, you see a glass of water,
Yeah,
which
T-Rex.
starts, and then you go, "What the hell's that?" You look out the window. Typhoon, earthquake, boom.
Yep.
Making their way to the ring, and you go, "Oh my god!" And then you're just shouting, "Get all the meats!
All of them.
All the meats have to be out at the same
Beef,
time." Oh,
pork,
they got a
chicken.
side of a cow out there. They really are panicking here, and they think, "Oh my god, they're going to want pudding." They're people. They're not going to not want pudding. Let's be fair.
Massive crumble with custard.
Preach. What would be in your crumble?
Weird. Apple.
Yeah. Was there other things like rhubarb? There's
No,
stuff like that.
I'm a
Apple,
basic.
peach?
Basic. No,
Okay.
I'm just apple
Do you prefer apple crumble or apple pie?
crumble.
Yeah, I'll go pie.
Okay. I mean, I'd eat both. But...
Yeah, well, yeah, so would I. But like the pie has a bit more of a different texture, whereas everything's kind of mushy.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of like pastry stuff. So sometimes a pie is a little too thick on the odd pastry.
But your mum makes a great pie. Speaking of which,
so weird.
when is your mum going to make me another pie? Because I've been jonesing
know.
for a cheese and onion pie. Maybe
don't
I'll have to
know.
pay her a visit. I'm sure she'd be well happy with that. Just knock on the door. Ms. Bowen, can I have a pie, please?
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't get the police involved.
Not at all.
Anyway, back to the match.
Segway.
Bossman regroups on the apron before returning, and he ducks a lunge to connect with the right hand, make it twice, and Earthquake is leaning against the buckles. We've done that. Earthquake gets a few words. Yeah, big. That was it. Tea. What do you want for tea, big man?
Yeah.
Oh god, what a segue. After a tentative approach, Bossman is this time unable to pass Quake, who pushes him hard into the corner before delivering a big body slam. He misses not one stomp but two, and also rolls clear of an elbow drop. On the floor, he chases after Jimmy and relieves him of his jacket, making him Holly's star of the show so far.
Yep.
Back in the ring, and Bossman unloads with right hands, but his corner whip is reversed. Quake likewise misses on a corner charge, allowing Bossman to trip him up with a schoolboy from behind, where he manages to get a count of 2. Side headlock by the correctional officer keeps Quake on one knee, and when the former sumo attempts to back suplex him, a palm strike to the nose returns them to their starting position. Earthquake looks to push free, but Bossman holds on to the beard and returns to the side headlock just out of the referee's view. He achieves that feat twice. Stampy child tantrum.
Stampy.
Did I say that?
Stampy.
Stampy.
Connery.
Yes. Stampy child tantrum side headlock remains in place until Quake does push free and shoulder tackles Bossman down.
But the headlock snorefest continues.
That's certainly one interpretation of what's happening, yeah. He misses the second elbow drop attempt of the night, which allows Bossman to head to the lofty heights of the first rope and take flight with a standing punch to the face.
Oh, careful now.
Yeah, getting a nosebleed up there, son.
Yeah.
Face first into the buckles goes Earthquake, and Bossman levels up as he hits the second rope for a double axe handle that causes Quaker to sway.
Gosh, wow.
Can't wait for full rope penetration, as it were. Bossman is waving his arms until Quake falls on his ass, and for his final performance, he heads to the top rope.
No way.
In one of the legitimately most impressive things I have seen, and I'm not joking, Quake catches the Bossman, who had nearly already hit the ground.
Yep.
He, on a crossbody attempt, he scoops him up and power slams him. That should have ended the match for me.
Yeah, that should have been done.
Just the way he caught him from basically the floor, picked him up, and then when he's up, he looks fine, like he's just carrying anything. And I'm thinking...
Like a child. It looks like he's literally carrying like a child.
Yeah, and I was just like, I definitely couldn't do that. Definitely couldn't do that. So, yeah, really impressive. Turns out I'm not 6'9", former sumo wrestler. Who would have thought about it? Quake places a foot on the chest, and as the ref counts, he just steps over him. The big man flexes for the crowd before pulling the Bossman to his feet and clubbing him to the back. Choking him over the middle rope, Quake is taking his time and delivers a deliberate shoulder to the midsection in the corner. Strong corner whip has Bossman hitting the canvas, but doesn't prevent him from lunging towards Jimmy Hart. Big boot to the back of the head over the middle rope, and now we get the Andre corner arse squash spot 3 times, with the last looking more like a stink face. A very British version of a Bossman chant begins as though it were an England football game.
Yes.
Bossman!
Yes.
That's how you know you're in the UK, when the air horns get involved. Bossman begins firing back until a rake of the eyes stops him dead in his tracks.
Boring.
That was a rhyme as well. Quake lifts Bossman into the air and runs him into the buckles. Another strong corner whip, and we get, for the second time in the evening, a bear hug of doom.
God, it's so dull.
Monsoon is decrying the hold not being applied correctly, and Bossman frees himself with an ear ringer, but a big clubbing blow to the back puts him on the canvas. Do I need to add this to the what is this
I
called?
remember what it's called. I call it a head clap because I can never remember.
Works, still works. A stamp and elbow drop follow, and now Quake applies a reverse chin lock. Bossman takes a moment to deal out some instructions with his hand in front of his mouth. The crowd rally behind Bossman, who makes his way to his feet and elbows free. Flying shoulder tackle fails to drop Quake twice, and then on the third run, Quake clotheslines Bossman out the air. Stamp to the chest and another choke with the boot as we hear Jimmy Hart tell the camera he told the Bossman he should have got some insurance, baby. The Cobb County native is kicked to the outside and a fly... What?
Oh, God. Word for
I'm going to
word.
read it word for word.
Verbatim.
I don't actually know what I mean. The Cobb County native is kicked to the outside and a flying him sends him from the apron and into the guardrail as he slowly goes to return. And a flying hit? I don't know what I've gone for there, but he was knocked off the apron again, basically, is the sum of it. On the outside, Quake sends Bossman face first into the steel stairs. Hart is kneeling on top, barking insults as Bossman rolls back into the ring. Hook of the leg, and the 1, 2, no. We pan to see Bossman has his foot over the bottom rope, which I actually thought was good camera work, because I thought that was going to be it.
Yep.
Deliberate elbows to the top of the head, and a clothesline staggers Bossman into the ropes, but he won't go down. He forces Quake into the corner and unloads with headbutts to the gut. Corner whip is reversed, and somebody had better check the Richter scale as the avalanche connects in the corner. Give him a root canal with your boot there, baby, as Quake shoves his boot into the chin of Bossman, sending him over the bottom rope to the apron. Commentary are saying this one should be called off for the safety of the Bossman. Whipped by Quake sees that, and many other reasons. Whipped by Quake sees Bossman try to slide between the legs, but instead he awkwardly eats some sausage before connecting with an enziguri. Right on the external occipital exuberance.
Ooh,
Gorilla's
very good,
back.
Yes.
No, it was the back of the head, Heenan calls. Bossman sits up to break the referee's count and makes the cover for the 1, 2... No, Quake just gets his shoulder up. Hart is up on the apron and Bossman grabs him by the lapels, moving out the way just as Quake comes thundering, sending Jimmy to the floor.
Hardly.
Yeah, I know.
Literally walking.
Well, he's a big lad.
It's ridiculous.
To be fair, he's been wrestling at this point for about an hour and a half.
But these people not have control of their legs and their eyes, and they can't go, oh, I should stop moving.
And their appetites. They've got
Just
control of nothing.
ridiculous.
Schoolboy roll-up gets the 1, 2... No, Quake kicks out again. 2 clotheslines by Bossman sees Quake do the second Andre spot of the night by tying his arms up in the ropes, and the crowd are booing. As is Holly, might I add.
Yes.
Not because of the Bossman, but the Mountie has made an appearance at ringside. Bossman is taking some unguarded shots, including a running crossbody as Earthquake cannot defend himself. Bossman hits the ropes, and as the ref unhooks Quake, the Mountie trips the correctional officer, making him plant on his face. Elbow drop to the back of the head by Quake finally lands, and we get the 1, 2, 3. Earthquake is the winner. The 2 members of Hart's stable high-five and hug outside the ring, and Heenan calls Bossman an ugly meter maid. Having realised what happened, Bossman points at the Mountie and slides out of the ring, running past Quake to get at the man who cost him the match. Holly, what did you think? What did you score it?
I was happy it was finished. I gave it 1 out of 5.
Okay.
And I just put... I mean, I put that when I knew it was Earthquake, I didn't expect it to be that good anyway.
Fair.
I mean, I don't know. Bossman made the best of the situation he had, I think, and it was just... wasn't too long. It felt really long. But I'm just happy it's done.
I went 1.5 stars. I think... I don't feel like that's unreasonable. It wasn't anything to write home about, for sure. And again, too slow of a pace. This is when I was like, okay, this is what we're getting.
Yes.
This is what we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a change of pace for you here. As we head back to Mean Gene, we hear Heenan say he might have to leave his position to find out what is happening between Bossman and Mountie. Mean Gene hypes up the importance of the Samovar Trophy, and the winner of the Battle Royal will be gigantic, apparently. So he's saying there'll be a fat lad.
Oh, okay.
All the opportunities that will come their way will be great for their career. Speaking of contenders, Gene introduces the Texas Tornado, who has to be considered one of the favourites, apparently.
Yay.
How did you feel?
Happy.
Why?
I mean, he's nice to look at.
Sure.
And this is the guy who I know you won't like his promo ability, but I do. Like, to me, it's chill. So sorry.
That one will actually have been picked up on the microphone. That was a madness.
I'm so hungry. I'm so sorry.
Why do you never eat before you come here?
I never do. It's just chill. Like, he's not shouting. Clear. Great enunciation. Good volume. Good score. Right for me.
Okay. I will counter that with he was not a good promo.
Yeah.
He wasn't good even in his family standards. He would often kind of slip over what he was going to say. To be fair, I don't recall him saying anything too dumb on this one, or anything dumb actually for that matter. But yeah, I
understand what that, like, I can look at it and say, oh, I like this, but that's just my personal preference. But I understand why you wouldn't. Do you know what I mean?
He doesn't have to shout or anything, because I think that would only make it worse. It was like when Diesel tried his promo, was talking, hey, I'm going to call on this, and because he fucked up. So Kerry says that this is the toughest match in the WWF, and the winner will be the King of the Mountain, so he will come out all fists and fire as he plans on winning the thing. I wonder how that pans out for him. Mean Gene informs us that before we get there, Kerry will have to go one-on-one with the Mountie. Just wanted to let that one hang out there for a while, to be honest. The Tornado acknowledges the toughness of the Mountie, but says that without his stick, he will be in a world of trouble. Much like we saw earlier, after a brief reminder of the show logo and sponsors, we hear the voice of Mean Gene inside the arena. Seems like there was a bit of a miscue. Gene begins talking as Monsoon is trying to introduce him. Heenan makes a joke, saying that Mean Gene will start whether anybody is ready or not. For the third time tonight, we see Jimmy Hart with another of his clients, and yet again, he is in an outstanding ring jacket.
God, just get off my telly.
You say, get off my tits.
Oh, no.
Not that any of this will matter, as Holly is too busy shouting and threatening her television screen to take any of this in.
I'm so predictable.
Hart says that we have seen tonight that the Hart organisation sticks together and looks out for one another. We saw it with Bossman, and now we'll see it with Kerry Von Erich. The Mountie always gets his man. The man says we can forget about Kerry Von, whatever his name is. He says that the only thing royal about the building they're in right now is him, because I am the Mountie!
I knew that was coming.
Once he finishes beating Kevin Von Erich's head in, I'm pretty sure he didn't say Kerry.
No, he didn't.
He will show that he is the only law and order in the WWF. Don't know why Kevin's getting bullets here.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I know.
That's actually a really poor turn of phrasing given what happened in that family.
A little bit.
But that was unintentional.
Yes.
The match.
Uh-huh.
The Mountie with Jimmy Hart versus... Oh, right. I was
Just can't. I just don't want to see him on telly anymore.
versus Kerry Von Erich. So you get something else.
I do.
Did you think this was going to be a good match?
No.
Yeah. Well, you'd be correct. Before Mel Phillips can finish announcing the Mountie, he snatches the mic and shouts, "I want to hear my music!" because they don't play it for him. Mel Phillips finishes announcing, and we get no music. Gorilla says the Mountie doesn't deserve any music anyway.
Fine.
As the Tornado makes his way to the ring, several women grab at him, nearly pulling him over. Probably because he's got one leg, to be fair. Because that was... No, seriously, like, if he had to, he might have had better balance.
Maybe.
But, like, it was little...
Unexpected grabs, maybe.
Well...
Yeah. But he's one of the people, I don't know if it's here or later, that comes out and does the whole... looks like into the rafters and really takes it in.
That's what I was thinking of when I mentioned it earlier, and I've got a comment on it, I believe. Great tassel boots on Kerry.
Very good.
As the ref pats him down, the Tornado takes a moment to scan the building and take it in. Must be quite a unique experience for a lot of these wrestlers, especially the ones that have been in, like, Texas a lot in certain venues that are very darkened as well. The match begins and the two lock up as they jostle for dominant position around the ring. Eventually they settle with Kerry having his back against the buckles. Very elaborate clean break by the Mountie, and the Tornado goes as if to throw a punch before his opponent is covering his ears to drown out the fans. Second lock up, and Mountie ends up backed against the ropes. Momentary clean break, but Von Erich decided to throw a punch like a heel that is blocked and eats a kick to the gut. As Mountie is yelling at Von Erich, he eats a big right hand that sent him down to the canvas and outside to the floor. The Mountie looks to return with his shock stick, but decides against it in the end. Armringer, but Von Erich and he continue to pull... Armringer by Von Erich, and he continues to pull and strike at the arm until Mountie grabs the hair and pushes free. A pair of leapfrogs by the Canadian, but Kerry stops in his tracks, and a second big right sends Mountie to the outside once more.
As much as it does annoy me, still impressed by a leapfrog.
Yep.
Especially as they're not like...
They're not
Eric's
small
not
guys.
a short guy, is he? So...
No. I think he's 6'1", something like that. Brief consultation with Jimmy Hart. And granted, you duck under. You're not leaping 6'1" into the air, but still. Brief consultation with Jimmy Hart, and the UK fans are chanting "Jailbird" at the alleged law enforcer. Growing aggravated by the fans, the Mountie teases leaving before eventually deciding to return to the ring.
Oh, piss off. Like, seen it once. Nasty Boys tried to do it. Oh, they didn't do it. Like, just if you're going to go, just go.
Yep, fair enough. Another fan gets under the skin of the Mountie and he screams in their direction to shut their mouth before going back outside for a powder. When he returns, he's immediately backed into the corner with a kick and right hands before managing to reverse a whip and jump into a wild sleeper hold. Whip and jump into a wild sleeper hold. And that looks like that's a good way to tear a knee, like if you go down sideways. When looks a bit ropey, but the hold is applied and Von Erich slowly begins to fade. Fortunately though, Holly, your services are not required here, as the Tornado begins to convulse and slowly rise back to his knees and then his feet.
It was much appreciated, I'll be honest.
Hold that thought. Kerry breaks the grip and then elbows the stomach before hitting the ropes. Unfortunately though, on the return, the sleeper hold is applied once again. Holly, can you do the honours please?
He's asleep. He's asleep. Oh, he's awake.
Von Erich is up and runs towards the buckles where he ducks, causing the Mountie to collide sternum first. After a pause to recover, Kerry reverses a whip and slaps on a sleeper hold of his own.
Snore me now.
The Mountie is furiously trying to claw for the ropes as Heenan is declaring, "It's a choke, it's a choke," having stated the opposite when Mountie was the aggressor. Mountie eventually does collapse on his knees. but it does clap. Oh, his knees. Into the ropes, forcing the hold to be broken. In the corner, Von Erich unloads with right hands before whipping Mountie into the buckles. Charge misses and Von Erich collides shoulder first into the ring post.
Drink.
A dazed Mountie unloads with boots to the gut against the buckles. Snapmare out of the corner and a knee gets driven into the back. Back on their feet, a big right hand sends Kerry tumbling over the top rope to the floor. He follows him to the outside and rams him sternum first into the steel stairs. Von Erich looks to return to the ring but eats a big right hand that drops him back to the outside. You know how good the match is when Gorilla suddenly pipes up with, "Boy, I could really go for some of those fish and chips right about now. Brain, why don't you go and rustle up some of those?" Growing careless, the Mountie is stood too close to the apron and Von Erich drags him out under the bottom rope and fires away with piston-like right hands. Mountie's turn to eat the steel steps, but when he's placed against the ring post, Kerry's tornado punch finds nothing but metal.
Drink.
The official checks... I thought the rule was you had to be thrown...
Oh,
no, okay, fine.
Honestly, I think you just need to drink.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah, fair. Kerry tries to fire back with the right hand, but hurts himself further. He does, however, manage to hit a clothesline that drops the Mountie. The Mountie is backing off in the corner, but Kerry follows in and looks for a monkey flip, but he gets countered. The Canadian lifts his legs onto the top ropes in a pin, and the referee counts the 1, 2, 3. Your winner is the Mountie, and once again we get another cheap win for the heels. 4 for 4 on the night now. Mm-hmm. Now I'm confused. Mm-hmm. Von Erich pleads his case, and the ref seems to take him at his word. The Mountie is now back in the ring, eating right hands. Whip sends Mountie into the ropes, and he goes for the ride on a back body drop as soon as he hits the canvas. Mountie rolls to the outside and takes his leave with Jimmy Hart. What just happened?
Yeah, I'm so confused by the ending of this.
I thought,
I
okay.
thought the ref was like, okay, carry on then.
I thought that. Kerry gets his moment with the fans and salutes each side of the ring before taking his leave. Just makes me sad to think what he could potentially have become.
Yes.
Would you score it?
Well, let's have a look, shall we? So I just put...
Do you need to put your glasses on for that?
No, I can see these are little notes.
Put your glasses on.
They're not paragraphs. So I've just put bar the semi eye candy. Like,
to be fair, he even gave me a semi.
Like, it's dull. Not much to me. Not much actual wrestling.
No.
Just a bear hug here, a bear hug there.
Here a punch, there a punch, everywhere a shit
into
punch.
A ring post, you know.
Drink.
Josh. Another shitty ending. I got confused over the ending of the match.
I did.
Understand that it keeps Von Erich as the face in it, but at this point, I don't care. And then I was a bit like, oh, so this in less than 2 years, he'd be dead.
Correct.
Which also was a bit sad. Irrelevant to my scoring. 0.5.
I'm not much higher, 1 star, and I gave it 1 star because it was shorter than some of the matches that came before it, which helped it. Otherwise, it would have been dropped significantly.
Yeah.
Somehow it was content-wise probably the worst, and that's surprising given that we just had an Earthquake Bossman match.
Really surprising, especially like I obviously try and keep a low expectation, but kind of seeing the guys, seeing their statures, like, do you know what I mean? Like, one of them isn't morbidly obese. Like, I was like, oh, okay, maybe a bit something. No. With the match officially in the books, Gorilla now sends us to the funeral parlour. It's not Mean Gene, at least. This is just dull. We see a fog-filled and darkened room with a neon green low light pointing directly at the urn being held by Paul Bearer. Alongside Paul is The Undertaker, who is still in the very early days of his WWF run. Bearer talks about the Albert Hall, because they don't say Royal anymore, and all the royalty that have passed through the venue over the years. But where are they now? Yes, that's right, they're in the cemetery. Oh, yeah. His voice literally makes me want to punch him in the face. Bearer now points as if he's looking at the royal box and asks where the Queen is. Ironically, she's in a box now, but he quickly changes the subject to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Undertaker now speaks directly to Jim Duggan. As the sand slips through the hourglass, so the breath in his body will escape him, and come the battle royal, rigor mortis will set in. I thought I was getting rigor mortis at this point. Wasn't it? And the main event will be nothing more than a mass WWF burial. Oh. Cool. Honestly. Bearer says, rest in peace. I debated doing that one too. Changed my mind last minute. Before cackling, and the clip draws to a close. So the dead man sounds like he's planning genocide for tonight, so that's pretty strong. Yeah. Strong tactic. Bold.
We now go back to the arena where we can hear an organ playing, and usually I would make a Jerry Lawler joke, but he isn't on commentary. But look at that, a gentleman... Do you get it?
Yes.
He's playing with his penis.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
But no worries,
explaining.
I'm here to help. But look at that, a gentleman looking like the Phantom of the Opera playing an actual organ.
Yeah.
Heenan says he has hair standing on his body where he doesn't even have hair. I want to know where these body parts are.
Yeah.
Cool little twist this on the Undertaker entrance. I actually liked it. Thought it was really cool.
Of all the venues that you could do this in, is this one, but the lights are fully up, so it just did nothing.
Oh yeah, good point.
Does nothing for me.
Yeah, that would have added to it.
Drop the lights,
Yeah.
even momentarily. No, but do you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
okay.
it would have had so much more impact.
Yes,
But
I agree. I didn't really think of that, but you're right. Gorilla asks Heenan who that guy is, and he says, the organ player, stupid. Monsoon presses him and says, I thought you were a broadcast journalist. I am, but I don't get all of their names. Fair enough. On to the match. We get The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, no Jimmy Hart,
Yes.
versus Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. Ho.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a loud one.
Oh, we'll get a loud ho later.
Will we?
Oh yeah.
To share? Or
Yes, 100%. As Taker makes his way to the ring, Heenan says, he is big, he is agile, and you can pound on him and he doesn't care. Sexy. Speaking about a change of pace, Hacksaw Jim Duggan makes his way to the ring, holding Old Glory, and Heenan asks, where does he think he is? With Duggan, that is a fair question. Good reception for the fan favourite by the UK crowd. I'll be honest, the UK crowd disappointed me in this one a little bit, and I'll tell you when we get there.
oh, okay.
The bell sounds, and Duggan walks straight into a kick in the gut and uppercuts that put him in the corner. Do you know, I will ask you, what were you expecting?
Low,
Yep.
very low. I was just
Yep.
hoping it was quick.
Yep. Whip into the buckles, but Duggan gets the boot up on the charge and begins firing back. He continues to block the overly obvious rights of Taker and connect with his own until he lands a clothesline that sends the dead man over the top to the floor. But he lands on his feet. That's what he does.
Standard.
Thumbs up by Hacksaw to the crowd, and Heenan is doing a great job of selling how incredibly dangerous Taker is. You weren't listening, but I can assure you he was.
No.
He rises to the apron only to be knocked back down with a big right hand. This is where the crowd disappoint me. Incredibly, yet expectedly, Duggan starts a USA chant, and the UK fans loudly chant this back. Get with the programme, guys. Canada knew to boo that. That sounded Canadian. Knew about that. But they, no, don't. Just go, I wanted to hear a smattering of, that was stupid. But no, they fully engaged with it. And I love Hacksaw.
Yes.
He's a goof. But no. Meanwhile on the outside, Taker is drawing power from the urn and his eyes roll into the back of his head. Hacksaw reaches over the top rope and grabs him by the hair, causing the dead man to hiss like a demonic creature as he's dragged back onto the apron. Before Duggan can strike, Taker guillotines the Patriot over the top rope, and Paul Bearer tells us this is all over, if only. In the ring, Undertaker now applies a blatant choke, one of 4,000, and the ref begins his count. Heenan says that Undertaker gives a No. Heenan says that Undertaker gives a whole new meaning to Jack the Ripper, and I wasn't aware that the dead man killed 6 prostitutes in the late 1800s. Duggan finds himself choked over the middle rope as the fans begin to chant USA once more, and Hacksaw momentarily forgets to sell to fist pump with encouragement. He's like, "Ah." It's so bad. Hacksaw Jim. Hacksaw fires back with the right hand, but one uppercut from Taker causes him to stumble and eventually land on his back. From where Undertaker resumes his choke. In spite of being severely choked for an excessive amount of time, Duggan does manage to shout, "Ho!" as he gets back to his knees.
Very good.
And here we go. Undertaker goes to the top rope, climbs across, and connects with Old School.
But he doesn't really. He takes about 45 minutes to do it. He stands there for an absolute
Oh, does he?
age. He's so dumb.
I don't know why. I've always been a fan of this move.
I like it when he does it quick because it makes sense. When you're there for freaking ages, why is the other person not just pushing you off?
Because it's
so
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I guess that's an exception.
Do you think this is one of your most hated wrestling moves?
Yeah. Up there with Randy Orton's DDT over the middle rope. For the same reason.
Because it's slow.
It's slow.
Yeah.
I have no.
Do it quick.
I actually like the setup. Grab and pull them through, drop them. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. And
You
when
don't
he
like
does
when
it quick.
He holds it for ages.
Yeah, and he's like,
because the person could just put their feet down.
yeah, you go, oh, sorry, Randy, hang on a second. Like, it just takes me out of it. It needs to be like a. But again, I get annoyed with, for example, when someone. I mean, we saw it in. Do you remember that shite flag match between John Cena and Rusev, where Cena just picks him up and Rusev's like, "I will go limp,"
Yes,
and just stay there. Like, no, fight. Like, Thrash, do something. But yeah, no, it annoys me when, unless someone's like properly out and then do it and then do whatever you like. So Randy Orton has occasionally done that move delayed where the guy's legitimately dopey. Fine, no issue with that. But
as long as in keeping with the rest of the
yes,
match,
because it takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Randy Orton getting another shout out. Hacksaw looks poised to fight back, but once again is choked up against the buckles with the dead man standing on the bottom rope. Then middle rope for leverage. Duggan strides out carrying Taker, or as Gorilla calls it, lift job in the corner, and connects with an inverted atomic drop. Big punches land from Duggan, and we get Sesame Street punches in the corner before he stops to go after Paul Bearer on the outside, who has grabbed his 2x4. With his attention elsewhere, and this is why I'm going to come on to Duggan being one of the dumbest wrestlers ever. With his attention elsewhere, Taker strikes him from behind, and the two men return to the ring. Big whip and a leaping clothesline lands hard. Fine. Undertaker is once again powering up from the urn before returning to Hacksaw, who connects with the 2x4 to the midsection in front of the referee. The bell goes, and what a bell end. Hacksaw has been disqualified. And I get it's his character, but how many matches have we seen where Hacksaw's done dumb shit like this?
Does this not turn him from being the face into the heel because he's using a weapon?
No, because he's using it against a bad guy. It just makes him look. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't turn him heel, it just makes him look dumb.
Okay.
Which I think kind of, again, to be fair, works for the Hacksaw character because he seemed like a bit of a goof.
Yeah,
but he's done this in too many matches now.
Many.
Was it WrestleMania 3? He ran out and got the bees disqualified. The killer bees. Yeah, we haven't seen them for a while, have we?
No.
Heenan again makes the point that The Undertaker did not go down from that strike. Bearer has a hold of the dead man by the hair and places the urn in front of his face to prevent him from going back after Duggan. With his back turned, an ugly clothesline sends Undertaker over the top to the floor, and he just lands on his feet, where he's again grabbed by Paul Bearer and pointed towards the urn. Awful, 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 awful match. Holly, what did you think?
I thought it was awful. 0.5.
And you've given it half a star more than I gave it.
I was going to give it nothing, and I was like, I have to give it a little something.
No, I refuse to, because it was just choking. We saw old school Hacksaw not selling at various things. The fans disappointed me. They offered nothing, so it was safer that I just gave it 0 stars.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, easily the worst match of the night.
By far.
With that farce out of the way, Gorilla Monsoon sends us backstage to Mean Gene Okerlund, who is standing beside Hot Rod. Gene asks Piper if he's been mingling with the locals in London, and Hot Rod says he is prouder than Punch to be in the Royal Albert Hall. He wishes he had some relatives so they could be proud of him. He's never been in such good company before, but then again, if they let people like Bobby Heenan in, maybe it isn't that great. Hot Rod threatens Heenan that if he calls his kilt a skirt one more time, he will slap him well, this is his exact phrasing. He will slap him so long that his hair will turn back to its original colour. How do you slap someone long?
Oh, I don't know. Go long.
Well, yeah. Then you sound like my wife during set. Anyway, then out of nowhere, and nearly 6 years after he took a swipe at the pop star, when referring to Wick Flair.
Oh.
Wick Flair. I'm just going to let's go back to that one again. Then out of nowhere, and nearly 6 years after he took a swipe at the pop star, when referring to Ric Flair as the real world's champion, he says, if you believe that, you will believe that there will be a Boy George Jr. How weird is it that we've seen shows literally 5-6 years apart from each other, and both shows he's taken
the same material
at Boy George? Fair enough. Obviously not a fan. Then out of nowhere, no. In full-blown rage mode, Piper calls Flair a feather-wearing, flocking freak, and Gene practically clutches his pearls in shock before stopping himself from laughing. To make sure it doesn't get caught, the cameras zoom in squarely on Piper, who goes on to tell us that he will get his hands on Flair in the Battle Royal. After that, he said he's going to grab that football player Gaza, or as he actually calls him, Gaza, take him to the club and teach him how to ring a few bells. Could you imagine Hot Rod and Gaza in Gaza? Holy shit.
Jesus.
Holy shit. That place has got enough problems. We don't need to be sending over fucking Gaza and Hot Rod. So... what did you think of this? Because it was probably my most entertaining promo.
Oh, no, I see, for me, this is so much shouting. And I never understand what Roddy is actually jabbering on about.
Slapping people long.
I just don't ever understand. Mainly because he doesn't enunciate. He's shouting. My brain just goes, I don't understand. Just get through it.
And out of nowhere, Mean Gene follows that up by taking the opportunity to say that at 4 p.m. tomorrow he'll be having high tea with the Queen Mother. And we head to the show graphic one more time. That doesn't lead to anything.
So bizarre.
Doesn't lead to anything. That's just where it ends. When we return, we are still with Mean Gene, who has been joined by Jimmy Hart and the imposing Typhoon. Holly is seething.
I'm done. I'm done with it.
Mean Gene reminds Typhoon that there are no friends and no foes in the Battle Royal, but he must surely only mean friends, as everyone is a foe in that environment. Gene puts the idea out there of it coming down to Earthquake and Typhoon as to what would happen.
I'll turn my telly off.
Typhoon says it's up to them and none of his concern. Gene protests to Jimmy Hart that he didn't get a proper answer, and Typhoon places a meaty paw on him before saying it is the only answer he will get. Hey now, Holly's mood has drastically improved as Hercules and Paul Roma walk into shot for a few words.
Oh, I miss that guy.
My God, Hercules looks like a sun-blushed tomato.
I've put a slow roasted gammon.
That is fucking excellent.
Thank you.
That's exactly what he looks like. He looks ready.
With my food comparisons.
He looks ready to die. Quite honestly,
it does look bad.
It doesn't look good, and I don't think he lasted much longer than this either.
Also, if you popped him with a needle, I feel like he would absolutely explode.
Which is ironic, given what he was actually doing to himself.
Yeah.
Power and Glory say that the Legion of Doom tried to avoid them by coming all the way to the UK, but here they are, and at the Royal Albert Hall, this will be their downfall. Mean Gene says that if Power and Glory do fail in their efforts to beat the Legion of Doom for the WWF Tag Team titles, it could be a long time before they get another shot. Paul Roma interrupts and asks Gene if his shirt reads loser, and I say yes, out loud. He tells Gene no, it says winner. Wrong again, it says glory. Hercules signs off by saying that the Legion of Doom are in a great deal of trouble. Another pause to show the show title screen, and when we come back we see the WWF Tag Team Champions standing with Mean Gene. No. Prepare yourselves.
Honestly.
Animal is roaring, saying they couldn't help but overhear those two little geeks, Power and Glory, tell the world what they were going to do. The Legion of the Legion of June.
Dune.
Yeah, there we go. The Legion of Doom became World Tag Team Champions by beating the best, not a bunch of nobodies. Then they pass to Hawk. Swelling of the fluid sac. Big wad of spit flies out of his mouth. Of the brain. Contusions. Inner bleeding. These are the things that our dreams are made of, Power and Glory, who will soon be renamed Sour and Gory.
Well done.
Thanks. And I didn't cough.
No, you didn't.
I didn't cough. It's not a great impression, but it's just he's got a bit of a lisp as well. Yeah, anyway, we're not going to do it again, but
I'd rather listen to you do it than them, I'll be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, God help them. Well, you can't, they're dead. When the champs are done with them, their mothers won't accept the new looks they've been given. Okay. Mean Gene goes to ask the champs what would happen if they were the last two men in the ring in the Battle Royal, and Hawk sums it up with, "Oh, what a rush." Boo. Anyway, Animal signs off by saying that since the Legion of Doom were punk kids in Chicago, they were against the odds and have continued to prove you can make something of yourselves. So tonight, they want to win it all. Does he have eyes?
I just don't care. Yeah, I know.
Like,
I
his
know, he's
cheeks
so
eat
squinty,
his
right?
eyes.
Yeah.
It's weird to think that he's the brother of John Laurinaitis.
Oh my God, yes.
It's just so odd.
Yes.
As we return to the commentary box, we see Gorilla inform us there is much more to come, as Heenan is shouting down towards the ring.
God.
Monsoon loses his patience and asks the Brain what the Brain is up to and to pay attention. He agrees with the fans who are chanting Weasel. Holly, we're getting there. 3 matches left.
Oh,
3 matches left. But this one is for the title. It's the only title that's put on the line in the entire show.
yes. Oh, I still didn't care.
Power and Glory... What? I was actually interested in this, and I'll tell you why. I thought, this is a Legion of Doom match. This ain't going long.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Power and Glory versus the Legion of Doom for the WWF Tag Team titles.
Yep.
Jimmy Hart... No, he's not. Sorry, I'm force of habit. As Power and Glory make their way to the ring with no music, like the jobbiest of jobbers, Gorilla catches himself as he goes to call them Herc and Jerk.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
As expected, a great reception for the Legion of Doom, who look like absolute superstars.
One of them, I can never remember which one. The traps on it. Oh my God.
Both of them, but I think you mean Hawk, the
Jesus.
one with not the mohawk.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first one to die.
Jesus.
Holly, quick question.
Oh no.
Who of this 4 had eaten the most vitamins going into this match?
I'll be honest, I think Hercules at this point because he's ready to pop.
Yeah. Hawk and Roma are set to start this one off, and Hawk offers a test of strength. Roma flexes, and so does Hawk. The challenger is massively put off by the LOD chants and has a minor tantrum before eventually locking up.
Took about half an hour.
Yes, it did. With Hawk getting the best of the battle, Roma drives a shoulder to the midsection and unloads with right hands. Whip is reversed, allowing Hawk to connect with, as Gorilla would call it, drop kick and a beauty. Roma rolls to the outside and Hawk follows, but when they re-enter the ring, Roma is ready and waiting with right hands. Roma ducks too early off a whip and is countered with a neck breaker. Snapmare takes Roma back down, where Hawk drops a leaping fist to the face. Both of the legal men tag out, and now we have Hercules and Animal. Attempted shoulder tackles are met with little movement from the animal, but the clothesline does put him down. Right hands in the corner and a whip into the buckles, but Animal rebounds out and now puts Hercules down with a clothesline of his own. Hawk gets the tag and fires off with a variety of strikes until Hercules counters with an inverted atomic drop for about the 5th time on the night.
Yep.
One of the consistent wrestling moves we've actually seen. Hawk gets the tag and fires off with a variety of strikes until Hercules counters with an invert. No, we've done that. Hawk prevents himself from eating the turnbuckle, and instead Herc gets a taster with Sesame Street buckle bounces. Different variant for us there, that one.
Yeah.
Big European uppercut sees Herc stagger into a tag, and Roma is back in. They lock up. No.
There's too many moves coming.
Okay.
One in particular.
Oh yeah. They lock up and make their way into the challenger's corner. Herc tags back in, and whilst the ref is distracted with Animal, the heels use the time to double team. Oh, apparently Hercules didn't tag, as when the ref returns, Roma stays in and connects with a devastating pile driver that, of course, Hawk no-sells. Hawk always no-sells a pile driver.
Horrible.
And it is dumb. You can no-sell several things. Pile driver shouldn't be one of them, but he always made that his thing, and it just doesn't... You would think, oh, okay, that's actually quite impressive. But no, it makes it look, oh, this is bollocks. To me.
Yeah.
Like...
I hate them. We know I hate them.
My favourite no-sell is Flair chopping Sting in the 80s, early 90s, and Sting just bouncing back out and then doing that pose at him and then Ric Flair backing off. That's the classic no-sell for me. But you don't like a pile driver anyway.
No, I do not.
So how did this one sit with you?
I don't like it, especially the guy, like the Roma, is that his name?
Yeah, Paul Roma.
Doing it, to me, is physically not as strong as, again, I don't know which Legion of Doom
Hawk.
is. So it just immediately makes me feel nervous anyway, because I'm like, my God, you need to be able to hold them like in the right place, and let's just not do it. I don't like it.
See if this helps you. So Hawk has a bigger wingspan. He's taller. So if you imagine that, you're not going to remember that. I don't know why I bothered. You just went, yeah.
I know what you mean by wingspan.
Thinking, no, as in, but like Hawk wingspan taller. Maybe go with that to help remind you.
Yeah, maybe. I probably won't remember.
Which is why I'd cut off.
Yeah, I'll
earlier.
try and remember.
What was
I will try.
Legion of Doom 1, Legion of Doom 2?
Just LOD.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't try and differentiate.
The only one that I
think-
fully understood is the Blues Brothers.
I think actually at one point I do work out which one is which.
Okay.
Because I have got Hawk mentioned in there.
Fine.
And I think in the Battle Royal I can work out which one's
Okay.
which.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Is it because they announce when they get eliminated?
Yeah.
Roma is taunting Animal, but the cheers grow loud as Hawk is back on his feet and he press slams Roma into the oncoming Hercules. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Ugly clothesline from Animal sends Hercules to the outside after he mangles himself in the ropes.
Makes a pig's ear of doing it.
He does. Hawk meanwhile body slams Roma, climbs the buckles but misses with a crossbody, and now he too is on the outside. Good bump from Hawk on that one as it looks painful the way he goes to the floor. Hercules sees his spot and drops Hawk's sternum first on the guardrail. Roma then shortly follows by running Hawk back first into the ring apron. Back in the ring, Hercules kicks at Hawk, who is struggling, and lazily drops him across the top rope. Hawk goes sternum first into the buckles, but he bounces back out and collides with Hercules, putting both men down. Hot tag to Animal, and Roma likewise is now the legal man. Jumping shoulder tackle connects from Animal. Corner whip and clothesline to Roma, and a drop kick to Hercules follows. Powerbomb with a pin by Animal on Roma, and this should be were it not broken up by Hercules. Hawk and Hercules begin to brawl, eventually taking matters to the outside as Roma body slams Animal in the ring. Roma goes to the top and leaps, but is caught and countered with a power slam, which really had me worried for Roma's neck because he was quite low to the canvas. Hook of the leg from Animal, and we get the 1, the 2, the 3. Legion of Doom retain their tag team titles. Holly, what did you think?
I thought it was alright. I thought there was more content in it than a lot of the other matches that we'd already seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was alright. I gave it 2 out of 5.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I went a little bit higher. I went 2.75 because it was quicker paced. The moves in it, for the most part, were better. I thought Legion of Doom felt like Legion of Doom felt like the first superstars we'd seen. Granted, Ric Flair, but he didn't come across necessarily as that. Whereas the Legion of Doom looked like superstars and felt like superstars. So yeah, 2.75 was where I landed. Gorilla sends us backstage now to Mean Gene, who is with UK's very own Davey Boy Smith, aka the British Bulldog. My God, does this man look dangerously bloated. We're near Hercules levels here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bulldog says that on the flight over here, he smelt something in the air. He smelt victory in his hometown.
It is so funny when everyone else is American, Canadian, or whatever, and then you get this. I've said it before, but you get this promo from this English lad. That's brilliant with a proper accent.
Do you want to know what my problem is with that?
Oh, go on.
Hometown, which is 300 miles away from where he currently is.
I know, but home country.
Yeah, homeland.
Yes.
Hometown. Not only does Bulldog smell victory against the Barbarian coming up soon, he also smells victory in the Battle Royal. He warned Earthquake and Typhoon of the English phrase that the bigger they are, the harder they fall, and Mean Gene points out it's a common phrase in the US, so completely belittles the Bulldog, and I can't help but smile. It's actually a phrase in Brooklyn as well. We get the old trusty show logo and background once more before returning back to the arena. Holly, it's finally happened.
I know, it's happening.
It's a happening. I knew Lord Al was on the show in some capacity, and he takes over from the sex pervert to ring announce. The match, the Barbarian versus the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
As the Barbarian is announced and makes his way to the ring, Monsoon points out that Lord Al is the true lord of the WWF, but Heenan disagrees. If Al can be a lord, so can he. He even gives Monsoon a name as Lord Banana, which amused me more than I care to admit.
You really like that, didn't
It
you?
was just, I don't know why it's so stupid, but it really caught me on.
tickled you.
I've got a name for you, Lord Banana. Love that. Get it? Because he's a gorilla. They like bananas.
Thank you.
No worries. That's what I do, boo. I maintain that the Barbarian's ring gear is class, but coming out to no music is woeful. Next, we get the entrance of the British Bulldog, and understandably, the place comes unglued. Easily the biggest reaction of the night, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Great gear.
Very, very.
I feel like this might play later into the end of the show.
Do you think?
I think so. I don't think he's necessarily... I think he will win.
Right.
But I don't think he's an outright as clear winner as you would think.
Okay.
And I will give my reasoning later.
I'm sure you will.
Sounds like that was passive-aggressive.
No, it really wasn't. The one thing I do want to comment on is I don't understand his hair. He's got cornrows
Yeah.
in. but they don't start until 3 inches back off the top of his hairline, and I just don't understand it.
It's like he's gone to the
so
Jersey Shore
weird.
or something to get those put in before he goes home.
But said, "Oh, can you leave this little tuft at the front?
Yep.
Because, you know, why not?" It just reminds me of the episode of Friends with Monica, and she
Yes.
gets them done and then like sways them round
With the shells in it.
Smile.
I wonder if it's because it would pull harder on the scalp if it was done all the way to the roots.
I don't know.
I don't know, having never done it for obvious
No.
reasons. Yeah, I'll be honest, Holly, don't think it would suit me.
Hey, it's only one way to find out.
What part do you think? What's happening here in this area? Yeah?
I don't know. The hair just always confuses me when I see his, like, when
Yeah,
he
fair.
has it shorter, great. It's good. Like,
No, I prefer it like this.
I just don't know. It's
I
weird
prefer
for
it like
me.
this, and this is like, I think if I spy the figure on the shelf, oh, he's back there, you'd
so
have to
what
lean
he's
forward
got.
to see him. That's literally pretty much the gear.
Okay.
Well, not the gear, but that's the hair, the flag. The gear's slightly different. That looks like from his SummerSlam 92 match with Bret Hart, but that's a story for another day. Heenan says he had more women screaming for him at the airport here than the Beatles did when they landed in LaGuardia. Monsoon, will you stop? And Holly thinks that about the show. The match begins and the two lock up. Barbarian slaps on a side headlock, but is pushed off the ropes, and the two collide like two slabs of beef in the centre. Barbarian tries again, but neither man moves once more. With the fans chanting Bulldog, he takes his eye off the ball to look at them and gets kicked in the gut for his indiscretions. Barbarian chokes away in the corner before some heavy blows land. Corner whip, but Bulldog gets the boots up on the charge and follows up with a half-hearted double Mongolian chop from the middle rope. Weird. Dropkick puts the Barbarian down, and he takes a moment to roll out of the ring to gather his thoughts, baby.
Of course he does.
Barbarian shouts in the camera that he will teach Bulldog what the wrestling is all about. When he returns, they lock up and Bulldog grabs an arm wringer. Barbarian eventually whips himself free but ducks, and Bulldog attempts a sunset flip but no luck. Barbarian punches down, but Bulldog isn't there and he thuds the canvas instead. Back to the arm lock, and the crowd are very supportive of the effort so far from the Bulldog. Second whip free, and Barbarian again ducks too early and eats a kick before Bulldog just manages to slide through his legs and connects with an arm drag takedown.
Nice.
Davey Boy drives the knee into the arm twice as Heenan confuses William Shakespeare for an NFL player and says he wasn't a good player but his interviews were great. Told you he was good. Back on their feet, and this time when Barbarian breaks free, he misses a clothesline but boots the Bulldog straight in the face, causing him to hit the canvas and roll to the floor. Barbarian scoops Bulldog up and runs him back first into the ring post twice,
Just take 2 drinks.
before stomping away for additional damage. From the apron, Barbarian kicks Bulldog in the head a further 2 times. Finally back on the apron, Bulldog finds his chest lovingly rubbed before he's cracked with a clubbing forearm.
I'm sure he spits on it too, or spits on something and rubs it.
Oh, hello.
Spit. Yeah, I know.
Spits on, say that again?
No, stop it.
What if I asked nicely?
No.
Snapmare in the middle of the ring, and Barbarian has locked in a reverse chin lock. Here we can see the Bulldog is bleeding from the nose, which is either as a result of one of those kicks or due to cocaine. We could not be sure from this vantage point. Heenan refers to Bulldog's nose as like a two-car garage, which really had me laughing. Holly, please, can you do the honours?
He's asleep. He's asleep. Oh, he's awake.
Bulldog fights his way back to his feet and manages to elbow himself free, but charges right into a kick to the gut, and his brief fight back is over. Beautiful pile driver by Barbarian, who hooks the legs and we get a near fall. Body slam by the big man in fur, but he takes far too long in dropping an elbow from the second rope and nobody is home. Davey Boy is firing back and a big clothesline sends Barbarian over the top to the floor. On the outside, Bulldog rams Barbarian's face into the guardrail, but little effect as he punches right back because of course he is of Samoan stock and you cannot hurt a Samoan's head. Davey Boy is set up against the ring post but manages to duck, causing Barbarian to club the metal instead.
Drink.
They return to the ring and Bulldog levels him with a clothesline that narrowly misses a 3 count. Lovely delayed suplex lands, although it's brief, and this also gets a count of 2. Sesame Street punches in the corner, but Barbarian counters... Oh, sorry, fucking hell. But Barbarian counters the corner whip. He charges, but he misses his mark. Bulldog scoops him up and connects with the running power slam. 1, 2, 3. The British Bulldog is your winner. Holly, when you saw the British Bulldog come out, obviously in his hometown, what did you think we were going to see in terms of a match? Were you happy with it? How did it land? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually quite like that one. I actually quite liked it. It wasn't that long.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was quite fast paced. There wasn't too. I mean, there was in and out, but there wasn't too much out to stand around. It was like we're both out. We're gonna, whatever. I did quite like it. I wasn't sure if he was actually going to win though, because every other match had been a heel, right? No, you're shaking.
All
no?
but the one before.
Well, yeah, but
yes.
so I didn't know if he was going to then lose this to then the next match.
Okay.
A bit, to me, that would have been a bit of more of a build up.
Yeah, okay.
A bit of a, oh my God, amazing. But I'm still fine with it. 2.75.
I thought it was fine. I was a little bit pooped out on the matches so far, so I probably gave this a bit lower than I otherwise would have done, so 2 stars for me. Wasn't offended by anything in there, but nothing to shout about either. Oh, good, Holly. More Mouth of the South. Backstage, we're taken to Mean Gene, who is standing alongside the Nasty Boys and Jimmy Hart.
Right, I've got comments on this.
Oh, so do I. Hart says the Nasty Boys are halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. By beating the Rockers earlier in the night and now going into the Battle Royal, they're looking to win again. At this point, call it the Jimmy Hart Battle Royal, as he must be representing the... At this point, call it the Jimmy Hart Battle Royal, as he must be representing the vast majority of the guys in there. Now, what I hear next is the maddest thing I've heard on one of these shows.
Okay.
Sag says, there used to be this cat called Adolf running around the town, but they ain't seen nothing like the Nazi boys. Sorry, correction, the Nasty Boys.
Oh my God.
Nob shouts that everyone will feel the wrath of the Nasty Boys. It's time to get nasty, and it's time to go out there and destroy everybody. After a quick interlude of the show logo, we return to the commentary box, and it's happened. It's a happening.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Al is on commentary, Holly.
Mm-hmm.
But give me your thoughts on this. Did you catch that?
No, see, I didn't, because my focus, so I obviously really struggle with like multiple, especially when my brain is done, I focus on like 1 or 2 things. All I could focus on was the fact that, was his name Knobs or whatever, doesn't fucking stand still. It's literally like he's got something in his boots and he has to move from one foot to the other constantly. He ain't even talking at this point, but he doesn't stop moving.
Yeah, he does
like
that.
He's on an imaginary stepmaster.
And Sags is a bobblehead.
Oh, irritating. Don't make me so angry. Literally. So angry. Ugh.
Look to your right, top, middle shelf, back. Nasty Boys. Back right.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Knobs and Sags.
Fucking stood still there, haven't they?
But Holly, Lord Al.
Yes, I mean, that did give me some joy.
And we're nearing the main event.
The
In
end.
fact, Holly, dare I
The
say, we're there. We're there. The 20-man over-the-top Battle Royal. Not as good as Royal Rumble, obviously, but still the principle I liked as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
In
So
a normal situation, yes.
when you say a normal situation, what do you mean as a normal situation?
I know I'm just going to see every person that I've already seen.
Not true.
Well, apart from 1 or 2.
Yep. Well, to be fair, you also saw those people, but they weren't in a match.
Yes.
Mel Phillips explains the rules of the Battle Royal, and I'm genuinely surprised he doesn't spend more time talking about what people's feet can and cannot do in this match, given his proclivities. The winner, of course, will be presented with the Royal Samovar Trophy. Lord Al confirms it's a Russian tea urn. Holly, I already own one of these, so you can scratch that off the Christmas gifts list that you were putting together for me.
God.
And Heenan actually makes the commentators laugh when he says, only in the WWF can you win a tea urn.
Yeah.
And that makes them both
Yeah,
pop,
man.
which is good. Okay, so here we go.
Right.
I'll list the competitors in the order they make their way to the ring,
Yeah.
and then I'll say about the elimination until we get to more of a match type
Okay.
environment.
This will be interesting because I've also done the same, so it'll be interesting to see who I've missed because I can guarantee there'll
Okay.
be someone.
Put your hand up as you've missed people, and then I will shout it out.
Or if I put the wrong name.
Yes. Kerry Von Erich, Typhoon, Earthquake, Tito Santana, The Mountie, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, The Barbarian, The Big Boss Man, Hercules, Paul Roma, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jerry Sags, Brian Knobbs, Ric Flair, Hawk, Animal, British Bulldog, The Undertaker, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. Did you get them all?
I did. It confused me because I've put them as
Legion
the
of Doom.
tags. Yeah.
Right. Great reception for the Hot Rod, who is making his first appearance of the night in the ring. As he climbs onto the ring apron, he spits at Ric Flair, and this one is underway. After an initial brawl between all the competitors, Piper begins chasing Flair around the ring until he catches him and bounces his head off the guardrail before trying to choke him with a camera cable. Now we can see Bossman chasing Mountie around the ring also. Lord Al hilariously calls Paul Roma Paul Glory, but still no eliminations up to this point. A tremendous sandwich in the corner there. And ironically, they were talking about Earthquake. First elimination is Hercules, who is tossed by Hawk. As soon as he lands, he grabs a theatre chair and looks to return, but is prevented from doing so by apparently the world's strongest referee.
Considering Hercules is like 4,000 years old.
Oh, he's so how old is he now? So he was 2000 at WrestleMania 3, and that was in 87.
He's aged well.
So he's 2006, is that? Something like that?
Something like that.
Good year. Brian Knobbs ducks a right from the Texas Tornado, and he's elevated out of the contest, and that surprised me how early he went.
Really disappointed.
Who would have been your first elimination?
Marty.
Yep. Mine too. Second, Paul Roma.
Oh,
Now that one really surprised me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Piper prevents himself from being tossed by Knobbs, who ends up on the apron moments later. After a right hand, Knobbs is dazed, and Piper finger pokes him down to the floor.
Good.
Knobbs is out! Lord Al cries, and Holly, this is why he can't be allowed on commentary.
It comes with a warning.
Yeah. Typhoon manhandles Marty Jannetty to the floor to see him head home. Tito Santana manages to muscle the Barbarian out and over and out even. Earthquake then sends Tito over the top, and he's gone. Sags manages to duck a right hand and backdrops Hawk from proceedings, but is quickly sent packing himself when Hacksaw levels him from behind. The Mountie looks to eliminate Shawn Michaels, but Mountie would have gone early for me as well, by the way.
Yeah.
The Mountie looks to eliminate Shawn Michaels, but he holds on and skins the cat, only to be met with a right hand from the Mountie that does eliminate him.
We know I like a skin the cat.
We do.
It's very impressive.
Ric Flair gets press slammed by Animal, who doesn't throw him over, and shortly after he lands, Duggan finds himself ejected by Earthquake part way through a ho. You right?
Yeah, the military press thing, stupid to me.
Yep.
Because why would you drop them in the ring?
Exactly.
Just throw them out. And then we're then followed very closely in a minute by a hideous camera angle when Duggan goes back in. So he's eliminated.
Yeah.
He goes back in with his 2x4.
Oh, of course he does. Oh, yeah.
Hideous camera angle.
Hacksaw, being the poor sport he is, grabs the 2x4, returns to the ring, marches right past the dormant Typhoon, and cracks Earthquake with it, sending him over the top. Is it the guns?
It's just crotch shot.
Yep.
It's an entire crotch shot.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why not, eh? Yeah, sending him over the top. The big man just holds on, which was quite impressive, but Animal kicks him and he is gone. Flair and Piper are still battling with one another almost exclusively, both in and out of the ring, until Hot Rod backdrops Flair out of the match. Flair went earlier than I thought.
Yeah, I thought he'd be one of the last
I
ones
did.
in, I'll be honest, but I like the idea of a backpack drop.
A backpack drop?
Yeah.
No, I put a backpack drop.
A backpack?
Yeah, a backpack drop. My question at this point is, why the hell is Paul Roma still in the match?
Yeah, boggling.
Piper gives Taker a free ball adjustment courtesy of the top rope moments before Bulldog backdrops Roma out of the contest. There we go.
Yeah.
Animal grows overzealous in trying to eliminate The Undertaker, who sidesteps a clothesline, and both of the tag team champions have now been eliminated. We're down to 6, and as Undertaker thrust chops Piper in the throat, he is also dismissed via a back body drop. That must be like the 5th or 6th we see of the back body drop ducks, and we're not done there either.
No.
Not satisfied with his lot, he grabs up and pulls Piper out after him. With 4 remaining, the Mountie, who is amazingly one of them,
How is he still in there?
hugs Typhoon, and both are consulted by their manager, Jimmy Hart, as Bulldog and Bossman stand in the opposite corner. Bossman chases Mountie as Typhoon punishes Bulldog. Bossman drives his crotch into the back of the neck of the Mountie on the second rope, and he avoids the second. Bossman instead slides under the ropes to punch Jimmy Hart. So here's star of the show for Holly.
Yeah.
He's disrobed him, he's punched him, he's given him abuse. In one of the more obvious low bridges you are likely to see, Bossman charges over the ropes into the floor thanks to the Canadian. Down to 3. Davey Boy is still taking punishment from Typhoon, and it looks to be 2-on-1. Davey Boy takes a beating in the corner but manages to pull the Mountie in the way of the onrushing Typhoon, crushing him. Al Hayes is overtly cheering on the Bulldog, but Davey Boy is prevented from eliminating Typhoon thanks to a devastating backrake from Mountie. Mountie walks and slaps Typhoon in the face, but this is to fire him up, and they resume beating on the Bulldog, who is dropped with a double clothesline. Mountie restrains Davey Boy and Typhoon charges, but his clothesline is ducked, and the Mountie instead goes over the top to the floor. We're down to 2. Bulldog charges, but can't budge Typhoon. The second time results with the same. The third, he ducks a clothesline and drops Typhoon with a dropkick. Corner whip is reversed, and Typhoon squashes him with an avalanche before dropping him with a clothesline. It could be off to the pound for the Bulldog.
Ooh.
I'd love to say that was on commentary. Sadly, that was me. Typhoon charges in again, but Dave eliminates him. I meant to put Davey, but Dave eliminates him in his home tune, and and I'm done.
No.
How did the British one fuck me up? I've lost where I am. So we'll try that again. Typhoon charges in again, but Dave, because I like it now, eliminates him up and over and earns himself a victory in the Battle Royal. The crowd and Lord Alfred absolutely erupt, and you would think England had just won the World Cup. Unfortunately, it's short-lived as Earthquake returns and scoops him up to deliver the power slam. Earthquake starts the tremors, but Bulldog rolls out of the ring to avoid the seated splash, or the aftershock. Now, Holly, look who we have here. On one crutch, Andre the Giant makes his way to the ring in brown khakis and a floral shirt. When he makes his way to the ring, he hits a double noggin knocker to the Natural Disasters before swinging his crutch at Typhoon, sending both men packing. Andre and Davey shake hands, and now the Bulldog, in his hometown, has the Samovar trophy lifted in the air before doing the same with the Union Jack. Yeah. The match is over.
Good.
What did you think?
I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. Literally mid card. Didn't go on too long. I didn't understand some of the order of the eliminations, but ultimately I suppose it didn't really matter because of who won. So I gave it a mid, 2.5. Fun.
I would have had Flair be the last elimination.
Mm-hmm.
As the real world's champion. I think that would have looked more impressive. Even though Typhoon's just a beast. A lump. Yeah, I feel like eliminating Flair last would have been good. Or The Undertaker even.
Yeah.
But anyway, I gave it 1.5 stars.
Okay.
what did you say you gave it?
2.5.
Okay, fair enough.
Just wasn't too long.
I get that.
All right paced.
And the crowd go home happy. 2 Davey Boy back-to-back victories. But I agree with you. I'd have had Barbarian get a cheap win earlier. Yeah. But I would have also had that match earlier. I might have even started the show with Bulldog and Barbarian. And then you set the tone of the heels winning. Legion of Doom gets something back for the faces. Then you go into the Battle Royal, which Davey wins.
Yes.
That's probably what I would have done. I wasn't asked, I'll be honest. I was too. For the final time, we're showing the event graphic as this one draws to a close.
Yes.
What did you think of the show overall?
I really struggled.
Yep.
Really struggled with this one.
Yep.
So much. Normally I try and power through and watch these in as smaller portions. Not smaller portions. Bigger portions, like smaller sittings as possible. But the desire to watch this was not there.
Yep.
Oh, it was a real struggle. Even Lord Alfred couldn't pick me back up.
Holy shit, end. Wow.
Yeah, I was done. 3. 3 out of 10 for me.
Do you know what's funny? It's the exact score I was going to give it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, again, I think it was the pacing was too slow for me. You could have taken an hour off this show and I'd have felt much happier.
100%.
And make the matches, keep the same number of matches, just make them a lot shorter.
Yeah, just get rid of all the out and in rubbish.
That's what I'd have gone for. Like I said, it wasn't horrendous. I didn't get angry at anything in particular, which I have done on other shows. Yeah. Even with the overexposure of the Mountie. 3 stars is where I'd land it as well, to be honest. It's a shame. I was hoping that we'd enjoy this one more. But there'll be others out there that are sleepers that we really get our teeth into. But before we do the usual end of the show routine, obviously it's the segment that everyone, quite frankly, looks forward to.
Really?
That is the Holly's outfit of the night.
Ooh,
so how many contenders did you have? Holly's counting.
6.
Okay, so have we counted the Rockers as 1?
Yes.
British Bulldog.
Yes.
I hope not Bossman.
No.
Legion of Doom.
Yes.
I want to get Jimmy Hart in there for his jackets. Yeah.
Yeah. Pains me, but yeah.
Have you thrown Lord Owl in just for shits and giggles?
No.
Monsoon's tuxedo was banging, to be fair, as was Bobby Heenan's, but I don't think either one of them will have made the list. So we're on 4, so I've got 2 more.
Yeah.
Who else am I missing? Undertaker?
Absolutely not.
Okay, it's more me struggling to think. Barbarian?
No.
Don't say Power and Glory.
No.
Okay. Ric Flair? With the
Yes.
robe? Tito Santana was very plain Jane. Oh, God. Who else is on the show? Hot Rod? No.
Oh, God, no.
Nasty Boys?
Absolutely not, no.
Oh, is it someone obvious as well?
Maybe.
Okay. I don't know. I'll give up.
Okay. So, my 6 were. So, yeah, the Rockers put the blue leggings, or tights, whatever they call them, with kind of like a pink and yellow, like it was like a zebra print sort of detail, tassels, bright colours. Love it.
Do you know, I think it was actually different. So I think it was, they had the blue underneath.
Yeah.
I think they had very badly ripped neon ones that went over the top.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I don't think they were part of the same thing.
Good. Yeah, Ric Flair, the long bedazzled robe is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it is the idea of he just takes it off and he's just normal.
Yep.
I like that. This one you're going to hate. And it's not...
Don't say the Mountie.
It's not him. I just think that outfit's hilarious. Yeah, it's the Mountie. It's so funny and it's so bizarre. So, but it's nothing
Sleeveless
to
shirt.
him. It's just it makes me laugh every time I see it. Pains me to say it. Jimmy Hart, Legion of Doom. I really like that look.
Yeah, it's good.
I really like it. And then Bulldog, white tights, Union Jack emblems, the lower arm sleeves that are Union Jacks. Even the beads in his awful hair are all colour coordinated, and the Union Jack wrestling boots. I really appreciated all of that actually.
So, if I'm a betting man,
Yeah,
British Bulldog wins. But I think the Rockers push him closer than you'd think.
Bulldog won. Yeah,
Nice.
by far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He was the outfit of the night.
Which would make sense.
Flair's robe, like I said, deserves definitely a special shout out. But yeah, it was. I'll be honest, I found it a little bit of a slog as well. I actually managed to do it in 3 sittings, I think, myself.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much did it almost in hour chunks.
Oh, nice.
But again, the earlier parts, the last part was the easiest for me
Yes.
to get through. I watched the last 3 matches in one sitting, and I was like, actually, that wasn't too bad
Yeah.
because the pace was slow enough that I didn't really have to pause much either.
Nice.
Which is always beneficial with my extensive note taking that I only occasionally fumble over every other word on. But yeah, it was quite nice to tick that show off because it's one I've been wanting to do for a while, regardless of the end result, I guess. And it's again a show I hadn't seen fully in person, and I know you hadn't as well.
Absolutely not. No.
I mean, we haven't actually decided on what we're covering next, do we? Which we need a brief conversation on,
we do.
and when we're actually going to be recording it. But this will be going out later today after I've done the editing. Before we go into the sunset, and I try and think of a proper sign off, which I've still yet to do.
Okay.
Please, can you share the socials with the listeners?
Yeah, wintwestpod@gmail.com so they can email any suggestions, which would be nice. And then, yeah, everything else is Win Twice Pod. So Instagram, YouTube, X.
Yay!
Thank you. That's it, right?
Well, we did have TikTok, but I think we've let that one die, to be fair. So, yeah, that was the most professional. Now the pressure's really on me to come up with a good sign-off. And sadly, as you started talking, my brain went... It powered down. Yeah. So I've got nothing here. So we'll see how this goes. Let's brace yourself, everyone. Oof. So thank you, everyone, for listening. I know that I've had a wonderful time. Holly, have you?
Yeah, lovely.
Hopefully everyone else has enjoyed it as well. Until the next one, take care, everybody. Bye.
Until next time, this has been a Win Twice Wrestling production. Peace out.